Fade in.
I need a username. And I have a great one. Little Kid Lover. That way people will know exactly where my priorities are at.
By the way, he gave me permission to touch him.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
How dare you?
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current date us.
And it's got a big woman in it, make it gay.
This is the first time that we see a woman and the first time that we see a black woman in this area and this world.
But Mrs. Kennedy, Bambi's a baby deer.
Baby deer, put a chick in it, make her gay.
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was trained, and then watch the hair come back up again. I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
No, God! The power of one!
And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken
Power of two.
If you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace!
The power of many.
It counts as a disability where a video game like Elden Ring is concerned if you have a kid. You have a 2-year-old, you're trying to play Elden Ring, you can't pause. That is a situational disability that you have.
You think that I'm retarded?
Sexism in gaming.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
No trial, no nothing.
The games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid mother.
F***ing pronouns! F***ing gender ambiguity! You serious?
Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists.
Serious crap!
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come. You keep doing that, no one up here is gonna call you Donald Trump anymore. We're gonna call you Donald Duck.
Weird. Weird.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that Hassan Piker? I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house. Or in the ring? No, in real life.
Well, Eric, you're on time, but I'm actually early for once. Like, holy shit. I got the stream started right before 9:30. So I'm pretty impressed with myself right now, I'm not gonna lie. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for jumping in here with us. I need to do some quick stuff real quick because I forgot to get my promo shit out here beforehand. Oh my god, I am slacking, I am failing. This is terrible. We have only got like 5 days left on the giveaway through Instant Gaming, guys. Let me get this brought up for you real quick. I am so sorry. I thought I had this all taken care of and ready to go. Well, while I'm working on this, there is the link in the description down below for the Instant Gaming giveaway. And yes, you can see, let me go back here. Here we go. We have got just under 5 days left for the Instant Gaming giveaway. And again, that's for any key on the site, any platform you want to use it on. Just join in. It's free to join. You just got to have an account on Instant Gaming. And of course, they have other games on sale all the time. Discounts available for everything. And as far as bestseller, pre-order, upcoming games, those are all available for every platform. You spent your theater allowance for Deadpool and Wolverine. Hey, you know what? That's not a bad way to go. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous. I haven't seen that movie yet. I really wish I could. That requires making arrangements as far as like babysitting and stuff goes for my kids. The Concord controller's kind of cool. You wouldn't buy it though. It's funny. That's what I was going to talk about at the end of the stream. I had some stuff brought up for Concord here, so we'll see. We'll get into some Concord shit in a minute. But yeah, I am going to get into it first and foremost with That Park Place, covering Black Myth Wukong. Let me see if my Steam Deck is actually working here. Hang on a second. Swing and a miss. This dang thing doesn't do anything that I want it to. My god, I thought I had this thing working, but we'll use the old clicker. Hey, Kara. Alyssa should look what happened with Black Girl Gamer sent a cease. Oh, he cease and desist letter to that park place? Hell yeah. I was there covering that back in the day. Actually, Ron Coleman appreciated me covering that. He commented on the video I made about it. It was really cool. I was very happy to be able to help cover that whole situation. That was a Black Girl Gamers. That feels like a lifetime ago. Honest to God, it's really funny because March is when all this stuff kind of kicked off, and that was back when my channel blew up with the whole Gamergate 2 thing. They basically decided to dub this entire situation. It's just a continuation of Gamergate 1, which I was not a part of. But the reality is, all those consultation companies, Black Girl Gamers, GamerX, Sweet Baby Inc., every single one that still, I mean, Melanin Gamers, that's still kicking. They're still around. They're the ones that made that toxicity rating for all those different games. They all still exist. They're all still operating. The only difference is they've all kind of quieted down. So it's going to take a year or two to see what's really going to happen with all those companies. He didn't like the Alien movie, but he did like Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay, so the Alien movie situation, I don't want to get into spoilers for anybody else who hasn't seen it. I went ahead and looked at spoilers. I just didn't care. I'm like, okay, what is the controversy about this whole situation? Clownfish TV, Neon, he went and saw it. He covered it. And yeah, it sounds like the end of the movie is a little, off-putting, we'll say, in certain areas. I don't know if I would dig it, especially after not loving Alien 3 or 4. It sounds like there's some of the same kind of crap in those movies as the rest of them. So I don't blame anybody for not digging Alien Romulus. I honestly didn't have high hopes for it to begin with. But let's just jump into this first story here. We will go with the semi-full screen for this one. Well, Eric, they haven't completely disappeared, and that's the thing. They're not gone completely. They're still kicking. They're still around. I just don't know if they are actually currently consulting on any games. Remember, they received so much of that funding and free sponsorship and all that attention just by their association with all the companies they were working with, that I'm sure that money, I mean, look, Twitch is still massively invested in these people who are connected to these companies. These are the people that when, like, you know, Pride Month or Black History Month, any of these months that they can feature a BIPOC or an LGBT person, they throw those people out there once, you know, a couple times a day, every day of the month. And I'll get this notification from Streamlabs, from Twitch, from any other organization or company associated with Twitch. Oh, come check out our BIPOC person of the month. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Can't you just find somebody who's good at a video game and is entertaining? Why does it always have to come with an acronym or some sort of like agenda attached to it, you know? But no, I don't think they've completely disappeared. I think they've just kind of quieted down for the most part. So this is an interesting twist. I hadn't seen this one. Apparently Legal Mindset covered this. The dude, Tom Foley from Esports. Again, I had never even heard of this guy before, but apparently he had an opinion about Black Myth Wukong, saying that the game was lacking in diversity. Despite the fact that there are men, there are women, there are monkeys, there are gods, there are demigods, there are all sorts of mythological creatures and whatnot, and I'm having a blast playing this game. I actually beat a boss last night when I was just kind of fooling around after I made my videos. I spent about 20 minutes working on this boss, and I beat him, and I was like, holy crap, that's cool, I'm going to bed now. Like, I'm having a great time with the game, but it is a little frustrating at points. Yeah, this dude from Esports decided to say that the game was lacking diversity and it's attracting the wrong type of fans. So I guess Legal Mindset has said that it's worth pointing out that by what he's saying, it's essentially at certain points defamatory. He says it's business defamation being making false statements that harm a business's reputation or their, business, their business of course, or their course of business, etc. Wow, John needs to clean this up. He says reputation or their business. I think this is either a typo or the transcript didn't exactly pull it up right. I don't know. From there, Esquire, who is Legal Mindset, went through much of the article. At one point, he quotes Foley, who wrote, "Considering the reports of sexism running rampant within the developer's workplace, we can only speculate, but I strongly believe Wukong's lack of diversity is adding fuel to the fire." And Esquire commented, "This is defamation. He's got no proof of this, right, at all whatsoever, so that's defamatory. He's defaming them right there." Now, again, I thought defamation legally had to prove that there was damages. I could be wrong about this. I know that there's slander and there's defamation, and I think slander is just saying something nasty about somebody to which it might be heard by a certain number of people. And I could be wrong, but one or both of those may not be, you may not be able to collect damages on that. As far as defamation goes, I thought the whole point that the defamation suit between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard was so like massive was the fact that Johnny Depp lost millions of dollars due to her essentially defaming and lying to him. Yeah, everyone except the DEI zealots. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is those are the wrong fans. But yeah, so this guy here, again, legal analyst, and again, it is LawTube. A lot of people don't have respect for YouTube lawyers, and I'm whatever. I'm like, look, I would probably not hire a YouTube lawyer to represent me in a court of law. I'd hire somebody whose practice is primarily just, going to court every day or filing paperwork or whatnot. That doesn't mean these guys don't know what they're talking about. It just, you take it with a grain of salt, because if you're not a practicing lawyer, or if you are mostly like online, who knows? I mean, again, this is no disrespect to Legal Mindset. I just don't know, without looking into it, his actual qualifications. He could be like the best lawyer on the planet. And so if that's true, then he probably knows exactly what he's talking about here. As far as reports of sexism running within the developer's workplace, they do not exist. There's one report from IGN that's been repeated by multiple media outlets, including The Guardian and GameSpot. And this is the part that I find very strange. Everybody decided that this IGN report was so, irrefutably, rock solid, that they all decided to quote the same article from last year, from November, as if this is ironclad proof of sexism, misogyny, toxic workplace, all sorts of stuff, right? Kind of wish Blackmouth Wukong would come out for Xbox. Blackmouth Wukong will probably be on Xbox at some point. Hey, good news. I just saw that Stellar Blade is making strides towards being on PC, and they're saying that it's even going to run better on PC than PS5. So fingers crossed on that one. I don't usually buy games full price. Blackmouth Wukong was kind of the exception, although I got a little discount on it from Instant Gaming, but still, I tend to avoid buying games day one full price. But I will definitely be checking out Stellar Blade if it comes to PC, because again, that's a game that I know a lot of people on PC are dying to get a hold of. Article just goes on to talk about this stuff that Ki-hoon Chan, who I still do not know if this is a man or a woman. This is the person that did the translation, the Korean individual that worked for IGN, that then told people to go pirate the game because F game science and anybody who's, happy about the game being successful. And the crazy part about it is that Black Myth Wukong, even though it didn't break its peak yet of 2.4 million people, it's still got 815,000 people playing it right now. And that's just on Steam. Again, a lot of the controversy around this game is the fact that once again we saw gamers say, hey, this is something that we all like, it looks cool, looks like it'll be a lot of fun, nothing controversial, no, woke politics, no diversity, equity, and inclusion crammed into the game. Hey, take my money, go ahead, It's like, hey, it's really a simple formula, it's not hard. You give people a good game and they'll do great with it. It's a he from what you heard on Side Scrollers today. Okay, I wasn't sure. I popped into Side Scrollers for a bit, but I didn't see the part where they talked about Ki-hoon Chan. So, yeah, I assumed it was a guy. And then I saw the face, and I'm like, it's a rather effeminate-looking face. I just wasn't sure, to be honest. And I'm like, I don't care about the whole misgendering, using wrong pronouns. I want to know biologically what it is, so I can call it appropriately, what it actually is, if it's a man or a woman. So yeah, definitely this is a big slap in the face to the games journalists, to all the media, everybody trying to completely tank this game. And again, I'm happy to have been a part of it. I'm still playing this game. I might hop on for a few minutes after the stream's over and play it if I decide not to make a video after we get done here. So here's the big, let's go start with the, we'll go with the big story of the night. He, they, technically. Well, he, him, technically. Unless he's got multiple personality or some shit. This has been very interesting to see kind of evolve throughout the course of the day, and Smash JT did a fantastic job covering this in his video, so go check it out if you haven't seen his video yet. The lawyer representing Kotaku senior editor Alyssa Mercante threatens Kiwi Farms with litigation. Now, this is so good because I didn't realize that this lawyer was basically a third-rate, used car salesman kind of guy. Yeah, there is no technical they, exactly. Oh, that's what this person's claim in some bio. Well, it could be a woman claiming to be a he. Again, it still could be a biological female. I don't know. Furthermore, they're completely insane. He, she, they, it are insane, and I doubt that we'll see he, she, it, they, them again. Because I doubt IGN is actually having them work full time. It was probably like they brought them on to write an article, to do some translation or consulting, and that was it. And then they moved on with their day. So, the article says, the official X account for Kiwi Farms revealed that a lawyer representing Kotaku senior editor Alyssa threatened the website and its owner with litigation. Dun, dun, dun! Yeah, Kira, massive ambulance chaser by the looks of it. I found some interesting tweets about this guy. He is a piece of work. And of course, we had the document shared by Kiwi Farms. And again, I'm going to be honest, like a lot of people, I don't use Kiwi Farms. I don't think doxing is a good thing. I don't spend any time on 4chan. I don't spend time on like the dark web. Not my thing. To each their own. I don't have any reason to be on there. I don't do much like internet sleuthing. I do investigative stuff. Like my last 2 videos I did, I like to do a fair amount of like diving into a rabbit's hole, those kind of things. But yeah, going to the sordid corners of the internet, not really for me. I don't know. I've been on Kiwi Farms like once or twice. But yes, here is the letter that they actually sent. This is a beautiful letter that they sent here, okay? From the offices of Kamerman, Unsik, Zoneker, and Klein. That's some very interesting names they got going on here. It's all just to distract from the issue at hand. Yeah, because again, if you can say, oh, you misgendered me, right there, you've completely derailed the conversation. You no longer can have a civil conversation once somebody accuses you of bigotry, dead naming, using the wrong pronoun, misgendering. All of that is a tactic to throw you off of the discussion at hand. It's 100% the way it goes. Oh, thanks, Oblivion. Yeah, it was, it's nice to not just do commentary, but once in a while get back into what I really started doing with this channel, which was investigative pieces, you know, going down rabbit holes and kind of seeing what's there. Sometimes I'll do that for a video and I just don't find anything and I run out of time to really dig into it. But, you know, once in a while you kind of hit pay dirt and you find something interesting. Whether or not it's consequential, that's up for the viewer to decide, or, you know, for history essentially to tell us down the road. But really, it's fun to do some deep diving and actually, you know, see what's there. So, via Matthew Harden, or is this to Matthew Harden? No, via email from Mr. Matthew Harden. RE, your client's threat to tortiously invade Alyssa Mercante's privacy. So, this is to Matthew Harden, who must be Kiwi Farmer Josh Moon's lawyer. Oh, yeah, it's Josh Moon's lawyer. We are writing to you concerning your client, Josh Moon, and his website, Kiwi Farms. There's currently a thread on Kiwi Farms in the non-public Prospering Grounds section of the forum. Again, I don't even know what Prospering Grounds is on Kiwi Farms. I don't go there, so I don't know what thread or forum this specifically is. And again, I don't endorse doxing. Don't dox anybody. That's bad. Hosting a full dox of our client, Alyssa Mercante. Context, though, Alyssa has definitely been out there challenging people to basically dig up all the dirt they can on her, which is pretty unhinged behavior. It's kind of like her threatening people and saying, hey, come fight me physically. As you may otherwise not be aware, Alyssa has hired us to pursue remedies both in and out of court against people who are serial stalkers and harassing her online. Joshua Moon and Kiwi Farms are not among these people we are pursuing, but we came across this thread in our research. Let's just stop right there. Again, pointed out by Smash JT and everybody else covering this. If Joshua Moon and Kiwi Farms are not among those people that we're pursuing, why are you emailing them a cease and desist? That's like saying, I want to accuse you of something, but I know you didn't do it, so I'm not really going to accuse you, but I know you did it. Maybe. But I don't have proof that you did it. So I can't accuse you, but I really want to. It makes no logical sense. Send the same response back that Park Place did. I mean, I don't know that Josh Moon has the same kind of money that they have backing that Park Place. I don't know that they can afford Ron Coleman. I don't know what his retainer would be. I have no idea. Lawyers can get very, very expensive. But yeah, Ron Coleman, he sent back a fantastic response. Really, Josh could probably hire him to write back one line and say, go screw yourself, you know. If it has Ron Coleman's name on it, that would probably be enough to scare this person off. However, by hosting the docs, Kiwi Farms provides an avenue for bad actors to get within the shield of Alyssa's privacy and turn being mean online into genuine threats to her privacy in person. That we cannot permit. Again, what are you going to do to stop Kiwi Farms by saying, we know that we're not going after you because we really can't do anything, but we can't permit you to do this? Well, what are you saying? You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth. Either you have legal ability to stop them from doing it, or you don't. It's one or the other. You can't have it both ways. So a funny story about Alyssa. After her first article about Cabrutus, everyone was cheering on the downfall of Kotaku. You made a video encouraging people to allow room for improvement. And the next day, Alyssa posted something abhorrent and you deleted the video or delisted. Yeah, honestly, I mean, you could have left it up and then just said, hey, you know what? This is the prime example of why we can't cooperate with these people. I was willing to offer an olive branch, or say maybe we give people room or time to improve, and this is how they respond. I mean, look, I said that Concord might have as many as 10,000 people playing it on launch day. Okay. You know what? Sometimes we try to be charitable and we're way off. I was like, okay, people buy games day one. They don't always play betas. Sure, you could get a few thousand people playing Concord, but no, we all know how that went. Threatened with some sort of video takedown by the country of New Zealand, and Kiwi Farms basically said to F off and nothing ever happened. I think I remember that one, Wild. That was pretty crazy. So it says, in this thread, the thread in question violates the laws of various states. Violation of Florida statute, blah, blah, blah. Courts have recognized this kind of malicious doxing as giving rise to liability as well. Basically saying that, again, they could be liable, I assume, for the dox itself or any ramifications of what would happen because of the dox. Who knows? Further, the thread in question in Kiwi Farms hardware continues to host Miss Mercante's videos, which is an infringement upon her intellectual property rights. Again, if they're referring to like an interview that she did on a podcast, or let's say it's a Twitter video or a YouTube, or like something related to working Kotaku that they host on their own like website, that's all public, not public domain, but you know, it's available for critique. You can embed any video from any website onto your website that you want to. And unless they request like a DMCA takedown or a copyright takedown or whatever, there's nothing they can do about it. Like if I throw a video on YouTube, yes, it belongs to me. If it's monetized, I get the money from it, from ad revenue. Nobody else can take my video and pass it off as theirs, but people can share the video. People can critique the video. People can, again, use transformative, dialogue to change the video, to do, like a critique of it. That's all fair game. I don't understand what they think they can do to remove videos and what videos they're even speaking of. I'm hoping it's not like videos from when she was a cam girl, because that's just too disgusting to think about. I don't want to go there. Anyways, furthermore, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act offers no respite to Joshua promoting any thread out of Kiwi Farms proper. Requires affirmative staff action, which obviates the site's Section 230 protections. Let's see, holding that where a website solicits and collects confidential information specifically for the purpose of publishing that information is a dox, then that website is not entitled to Section 230 immunity. Saying essentially if your entire purpose of existing is to collect information to dox people with, you're not protected by Section 230. But again, I don't think they're trying to claim that they are. I think what they're saying is, what the hell is your point? If you're saying that Kiwi Farms is not the target of your cease and desist or of your legal threats, then what the hell is the point of this letter in the first place? Yeah, exactly, Oblivion. What's the point? What is the reason for the letter, you know? Right, so Kira, that's what I'm saying. I think she wrote this shit herself, or this Lane Haygood guy that we're going to get into in a minute. Here's what I think. I think he put the legal jargon in here, okay? The stuff that sounds big and scary, even though we both know it's really not. This section here that we're going to get into, I think was written 100% by Alyssa Mercante. I think she wrote this, submitted it to her lawyer, said, how does this sound? And he's like, sure, go for it. We'll put that in there. You know, you're still going to pay me $50 for my time, right? And then he basically signed his name on there, you know? So it says, to repeat, Mr. Moon is currently not in our crosshairs. Does that sound like something that a lawyer would write, even a bad lawyer, or does that sound like Alyssa Mercante? That sounds like Alyssa. Again, Smash JT, I think he was more alluding to the fact that her lawyer just really sucks at his job and he's like kind of a hack that nobody can trust. I think Alyssa wrote this. I swear to God, I think she wrote this. And my mom, she's gone through divorces. She's gone through business stuff with lawyers, needing to write up documents. She has done this where she's like, I want it to sound like this. And she'll write what she wants the lawyer to write. And the lawyer will then rewrite it in legalese where it's, not going to get anybody in trouble, but to basically put the emphasis of what her point is and her message into the legal document, just put into, legal speak, essentially. This 100% sounds like something Alyssa Mercante would write, okay? Yeah, co-collaborated. Lawyers would not write that kind of crap. So, it says, let's see, not in our crosshairs, and if this thread removes the docs and never leaves the non-public portion of Kiwi Farms forums, then there will be no reason for us to give Mr. Moon the time of day. Again, not even something that a lawyer would write. You're giving them the time of day right now by sending them a letter. This is Alyssa speaking through her lawyer. Our concern is not with policing the internet activity of a single person or even a whole forum, but in protecting the security and rights of our clients. The less Kiwi Farms puts our clients in danger or permitting others to utilize information provided by Kiwi Farms to continue campaigns of harassment, stalking, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, the less we will have to get involved in Joshua Moon's business. We've all been here for the same 3-4 months, right? We've all seen this stuff that Alyssa has said, done, written, called people names, called people bigots, called people racists, called people the worst kind of, people on the planet, and done everything she can to instigate and provoke people into giving, even sometimes borderline like extremist violent responses, right? So I don't think any lawyer, any judge would honestly, if they had any if they were good at their job to any stretch of the imagination, I don't think they would look at her past action and say, I'm willing to represent you, okay? Think about it. We have seen people time and time again where their lawyer has dropped them and said, yeah, I don't want to work with you. Sorry. I get what you're trying to get me to do here, but I think you should find counsel somewhere else. If anybody with half a brain or any legal experience at all looked at Alyssa's past behavior in the last 3 months alone, there's no way they would represent her at all. Not going to happen. So it says, again, our sole concern here is Alyssa's well-being, and this threatens that well-being if it is released in its current form, as modified, and if it stays private, then we do not believe that it represents a serious threat and may safely be ignored. It would be in your client's interest to keep it that way. They're not saying to delete it. They're not saying to remove it. They're just saying keep it the way it is, and and everything will be fine. I don't understand the point of this letter. Okay, it's pointless. Hey, KZ, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. Oh, Discovery would be fantastic. I would love that. Yeah, the Trump stuff. Yeah, again, the crosshairs conversation. Let's see. I watch a lot of lawyers. They do write some weird stuff sometimes. It's also true they usually base things on written statements by clients. Yeah, but Oblivion, would any of them use the words crosshairs? Unless they're saying, my client has been in your crosshairs, you've been targeting my client has been fearful because you put him in the cross. I mean, there are ways you can use expressions and colloquial terms that are applicable that make sense. This doesn't seem to be something that makes sense unless he's just really shitty at his job. I mean, it could just be that he sucks at his job, let's be honest, okay? Hey, Moxie. Let's see. What would like to happen is this reach a point of discovery, which would then drag out all her friends down with her. Well, Alyssa doesn't have friends. She has comrades. You got to remember this. She's an all-out communist, Marxist, socialist sympathizer. She doesn't have friends. These people are all ideological allies, but they're not friends. They're all in this together. They're all here to tear down the system of patriarchal white supremacy and replace it with a multicultural, Marxist, equitable future. That's all they want. It doesn't matter if it's the guys in the media. It doesn't matter if they're games journalists. It doesn't matter if they're developers. And the thing is, we've discovered through a lot of this stuff with Sweet Baby Inc. and a lot of the DEI crap and the initiatives with the consulting companies that it's not just the consulting firms. The developers, too, a lot of them have drank the Kool-Aid. My last video talking about that dude, Ragnar Tollefson, I think his last name was, I can't remember his last name, over at Red Thread Games. A lot of people were saying, oh, this guy used to make such great games. It's a shame. He used to be so cool. He used to be so based or whatever. But now here you have it where he has drank the Kool-Aid essentially, or he's basically cucked to the point where he doesn't want to lose his job. And now he's complicit in the ideological infusion of their politics into their modern day games. It's just the way it is. Yeah, comrades will be the first to turn, exactly. Because they don't have any love or care or actual friendship. It is just unhinged lunatics that are all on the same side for now. Of course, Mark Fox pointing out that Alyssa Mercante's lawyer, Lane Stellmaker, has already locked down his ex, standard left-winger wokey playbook. Now, I don't remember. I remember that 8-Bit Eric had somebody advising him to be careful about what he was saying back when that dude Magitech Dad was still on Twitter before he basically left the platform because he's like, oh, this place is making me a terrible person. I have to get out of here. He was another one of those Alyssa Mercante defenders back when Nick Calandra was still running his mouth as well. But... sorry, I'm gonna fix my camera real quick. There was a guy who messaged DM'd 8-Bit Eric about how he needed to be careful legally about the things he was saying, but then he was like, oh, but I'm not making legal threats or advising anybody legally. I'm just saying as a friend or whatever. I don't know if it's the same guy or not, but this dude, Lane Stellmacher here, Mark Fox says that he sent him a nasty tweet before doing so. He defamed Elon Musk, called him a Nazi, solid grounds for a lawsuit. You can see here, yeah, the guy's account's protected. Let's see, Mark Fox says, hey, your threatening letter to Kiwi Farms sounds unprofessional, laced with bitter insults. I don't like Kiwi Farms in the least, but you make me want to. Lane Stillmacher says, we're sorry it hurt your feelings, Mark, but is it a body hurt or just an inside hurt? I'm not sure what he means. Is he saying, like, is he butt hurt? I'm really confused about that. Yes, I think that was the whole Nick accusing him of not being, Nick said that he shouldn't be around children because, yes, he has a wrestling school, right? And so something that 8-Bit Eric responded with, this guy, I think it was Lane Stillmacher, it was some guy who claimed to be a lawyer who was a friend of Alyssa Mercante, basically advised him, oh, you should be careful saying these kind of things. And it's like, dude, you guys literally called him like a pedo or something, or at least insinuated about it. Oh yeah, Lane Stillmacher reposts this. Elon's retweeting a Nazi who's lying because he's willing to believe anything a Nazi says because he's also a Nazi. I love how they just throw that word out there. Half the time it's the guys with the Palestinian flag in their bio calling people Nazis, which is really ironic. And again, no dog in that fight. I don't care. I want to stay out of the desert as much as possible. That's my own opinion. So this thread here has Hypnotic saying, money well spent, I would say. And these are Lane... I'm confused. Is it Lane Haygood or Lane Stillmacher? Are we mixing up the lawyers here? Let me go back a second. Because Mark Fox says Alyssa Mercante's lawyer, Lane Stillmacher, but the paperwork said Haygood. So now I'm a little confused about who the actual lawyer is. I don't know. Has this guy helped represent her at some point also? Because I don't think this is the same guy. Let me see here. Hang on a second. No, it looks like the same dude. Beard's a little bit longer here in this profile picture, but I think it might be the same guy. Does he go by a different name? Why would he go by Stillmacher on Twitter and Haygood on his legal page? That's very strange. Anybody know what the deal is with this? Because I don't know why this guy would be going by two different names. That's really strange behavior. That's really weird. Anyways, so Lane Haygood, the one that we know for sure sent the letter to Kiwi Farms, has 1 star posted by Anonymous, says, the lawyer was not prepared and did very little during the hearing. Then after the hearing, he had an outburst in the waiting room at some of the people sitting there. He then was escorted to the elevator and told to leave. He's very unprofessional. Again, Anonymous, we don't have proof, but this is from September of last year before all this crap kicked off. So very likely a real client. This one says worst attorney ever, and this is from June of last year, again, before all this Gamergate 2 drama, so again, not necessarily like people dogpiling. Worst attorney ever, hired attorney, he did absolutely nothing but charge me for everything. He dropped my case 6 months later without any notice. I had to contact his firm to find out he left. I would never recommend him. His communication was poor and not professional when we did speak. If I could give 0 stars, I would. Another lady accomplished it in weeks what he couldn't get done in 6 months. My mom's had lawyers like that, especially when it comes to like divorce issues and stuff. Some of these freaking lawyers are just like there to bleed you dry, completely worthless. Oh, you're working wild? I'm sorry about that. Are you, I can't remember, are you in the other side of the world from me, or are you just working late? Let's see here. Prophet of Regret says, her lawyer is in fact a mutual of hers who now privated his account, so it's got to be the same dude. The guy who wrote an entire fanfic to own the transphobes about tampons in men's bathrooms, cusk law having their name dragged through the mud so he can simp, LMFAO. Okay, so what is this archive here? Oh, okay, so it says, oh man, do I have a story to tell you? Buckle up. This happened several years ago. I was on a business trip to Austin. Thought it was just your average continuing legal education seminar, but little did I know everything was going to change after that trip. This dude wrote a whole freaking, like, if this was in Word, there'd be like 2 pages worth of talking about tampons being in men's bathrooms. So again, on here it says Lane Stillmacher. I'm not sure if this is 100% sure if this is the actual lawyer, but they're saying it's the same guy. And then, of course, Prophet of Regret has some old posts from her very professional lawyer. Let's see. Oh, Kaylee McEnany said, under President Trump's leadership, there will be no burning of churches, looting of businesses, destruction of property, assaults on civilians and police. To which this dude replies, F your law and order, thieves prosper, the rich remember. Donald Trump says, so they now convict Roger Stone of lying, and they want to jail him for many years to come. Lane says, because those other people didn't do crimes, Donnie 2 scoops. 2 scoops, this Joe 2 scoops. Come on, get it right. Motion to suppress effing 1, y'all. Now that I'm a conservative intellectual, a member of the intellectual dark web, I'd like my right-wing grifter money, please. I take Bitcoin. F the state. Well, hey, I kind of agree with him on that one. Very interesting. So yeah, it is the same dude. I don't understand the 2 name thing, though. That's very strange. Vera Dark says a lawyer wrote this, must have gotten them out of a bargain bin. You get what you pay for. Reads like an essay from a first-year college student. Now, I was going to bring up the... Oh, later, Richie. Detroit, huh? Stay safe, dude. Considering she's a journalist, sure doesn't seem like she researches other entities. Look, the whole trans lifeline thing. Guys, I am so pissed. I was hours ahead of Smash JT. I was going to break that story wide open. I'm not even kidding. I was working on, I had 3 videos I was recording that night, and I was almost feeling like I was getting sick. I had 2 of them done. It was like 11:30 at night. I had freaking Trans Lifeline's tax information sitting open on my computer in front of me. I'm like, you know what? This can wait till the morning. Maybe I can do this tomorrow at some point. I get up, I wake up, and I look and see that he's got an article out there, and everyone's sharing it around. I'm like, son of a bitch. I mean, I love Smash JT, don't get me wrong. Kudos to him. He beat me by a few hours, but I was so irritated with myself. I'm like, I should have just stayed up. Because, yeah, he was doing the same thing I was. Like, it clicked in my brain. Again, one of these rabbit holes I had to jump down. I was thinking to myself, there's something really fishy with this charity. And then I started digging through the tax information and looking at the amount people were making off of it, the fact that they had limited hours. The whole thing was really strange. You work in the office alone for about 6 hours until the rest of folks come rolling in? Dude, I'm cool with that, yeah. That's the way to go. I typically work by myself since I'm family business, self-employed-ish. You know, working with family your whole life, things are strange when it comes to describing how you do your business. But now, most of my days, I work completely by myself. Sometimes the wife comes in and helps me like get some stuff done that I need extra hands on, but you know, it's pretty much me by myself 5 days a week. So I have a lot of time to think and listen to videos and shit. So I'm usually like keeping my brain occupied off and on all throughout the course of the day. But yeah, I'm on the West Coast, so I feel sorry for you guys who tune into the streams and you have to stay up till like freaking midnight just to see me go live. I wish I could fix that. I wish I could do something about it. But unfortunately, it is what it is. What do we have next? Oh my god, have you guys seen the shit coming out about Star Wars Outlaws? This is freaking hilarious. So, another article from that Park Place. John Trent is a freaking beast. That man is a workhorse, let me tell you. New ridiculously bad bug discovered in Ubisoft's upcoming Star Wars Outlaws. Now, we got some funny video clips coming out, and a lot of people who are trying to say that it's not that bad, but it looks terrible. And I will be honest, the one thing I'll say about this character, I understand what they were trying to do with the hair. I get it. They wanted to do kind of like an 80s throwback thing. They wanted to do like, because you remember, the original Star Wars movies, all the characters kind of had like the 70s, 80s hairstyles. I get it. They just didn't pull it off. Between the hair and the face, like, I don't know who can look at this and think that this looks good, and I don't understand why it's so hard, unless it's intentional, which it probably is, why it's so hard to create a good-looking character model these days for so many of these developers. Just alter the rotation of Earth. Good luck with that, guys. Let me know how that goes. So, as you can see right here, it says, a handful of players have discovered another ridiculously bad bug in Ubisoft Star Wars Outlaws that sees the player character Kves slide across the game's map after attempting a stealth assassination. I think I have that video. I think I have it brought up over here. Let me see here a second. All right, we'll just use the one that's linked in the article here. This is pretty fantastic. Check this out, guys. So again, this is your quadruple A gaming from Ubisoft right here, okay? This is some good shit. Yeah, Matt, the face and the hair, they just don't jive. They don't work together. All right, so more for punching people from behind and knocking them out. Now look, to be fair, okay, let's go back. To be fair, I have had this happen in video games going back for years, okay? There are always video games that have lag, that have like frame droppage, that have, you know, you rubber banding and stuff. I've played plenty of rounds of Apex Legends where, you know, I'd be like running, and then all of a sudden I'm whipped back because the internet, the server's messed up or something. Shit happens. But what I find embarrassing about this is a single player game that has no business being this buggy, given the fact that they have been promoting this game, working on this game for so many years now. Not to mention, does this gameplay seem exciting to anybody else? My biggest problem with this game, aside from the fact that the AI apparently is completely retarded, and there's, again, the ugly protagonist, I don't understand who this is supposed to seem exciting for. Nothing about this seems exciting. I don't know. I also tried playing Starfield, though, when it launched, and I was so bored out of my mind I couldn't even think straight. Like, who is this supposed to appeal to? Star Wars fans? New Star Wars fans? The Acolyte fans? I just don't get it. You don't even think Todd Howard's buddies could make a game this bad? Yeah, you know. Well, Kira, the funny thing about that quadruple A game shit is the fact that Skull and Bones, is it even on PC or is it only on... I'm trying to think. I know they had it on the Ubisoft Plus app, but they're not reporting the numbers because it's not available through Steam. So currently, I've seen it on sale. I saw that Best Buy had the physical disc, I believe it was, for Skull and Bones for like $10 a couple weeks ago. I was actually thinking about maybe picking it up, but the current setup for my computer, my disk drive is kind of like blocked because of the fact that I've got my computer turned sideways so I can see all the pretty colors. I got all these LED lights installed on my PC after 5 years, and I'm like, ooh, pretty colors, wow. So yeah, my disk drive's currently blocked. But again, even picking it up on disc for $10, I'm like, I just don't care. What's the point? You know, I could pick it up and play it one time and never play it again and have to uninstall 120 gigabytes of shit, you know? Wait, is it on Steam? I didn't think it was on Steam. Hang on a second, really? No. No way. Let me check that. Oh no, I gotta hide all my hentai games. I'm just kidding. I don't do that weird shit. At least not on this account. Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones. I didn't think... Oh, would you look at that? Okay. Would you look at that? Holy shit. Ooh, only 427 reviews. They released it on August 22nd, so 4 days ago. Oh boy. Oh boy, okay. Let's see. Skull and Bones. Steam player count. Steam charts. Here's a fun one. Let's take a look here. I like Steam be better than Steam charts. Hey, 867 currently in game. That's better than freaking Dustborn. That's better than Concord. Oh my god, can you believe that there's more people currently playing Skull and Bones on Steam than Concord? Holy shit. 7,000 rubles. What is that in US dollars? Do you know? Oh yeah, or I've got some fun videos on Dustborn. I went into some deep dives on that. If you haven't seen them yet, you should check them out after the stream's over. There's some good information in there. Also, did an article on that as well. It goes beyond just the Norwegian tax dollars, but yeah, exactly. Hey, Alequiz, it's been a while. Yeah, Han Solo's outfit, exactly. Well, the crazy thing is they have Han Solo's outfit, they have Lando Calrissian's outfit. So essentially what they want you to do is to play this game and forget about the fact that Lando existed and Han existed. You are now playing Kves, who's better. She's instantly better because vagina, right? So, oh, and she has a cute little, again, the, not member berries, but like the merchandising side of Star Wars. It's, oh my god, I have to get the alien axolotl looking thing, right? Yeah, wild. I didn't even realize that it was on Steam at this point. All I know is when the game first came out, I was actually still writing for Fandom Pulse at the time, and I was only making like 1 or 2 videos a week. So I did a video on Skull and Bones that did decently well, but I was looking for information on Steam charts. I'm like, oh, wait a second, it's not on Steam. So how am I going to find how many players are playing it? Oh, there's the answer. You can't, because they're hiding the numbers. Just like Xbox and Sony and all these other companies do to hide their numbers. Archcast must be upset. Is Arch in Norway? I didn't know that. About $8. Oof. That's a weird conversion. I've never been to Russia. I've never had to use rubles. So for me, like thinking about 7,000 rubles being equivalent to freaking $8, that's crazy. Wow. Oh, thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. You know, I actually have not caught much from Archcast. I follow him on Twitter. I think I've seen 1 or 2 of his videos pop up in my feed. I just Guys, I'm subscribed to so many freaking people. I can't even watch all the videos in the course of a day. Oh, you're on vacation. Okay, I got you. Yeah, the real problem is the WEF allies like BlackRock. Well, you know, BlackRock and Vanguard are the reason none of us can afford to buy a home. I mean, if we're going to be straight up honest about it, that's kind of the way things go. So, yeah, it says Okami13 was not the only one to see such the bug. You know, John, I wish I could go through here and edit these for him. He puts out so many articles, and kudos to him, but once in a while I catch like typos and shit. And I want to reach out to him on Twitter and be like, yo, can we edit this? But I'm not really, I don't feel like I should do that. It's not my place. PlayStation Size also shared a video where Vest performs a stealth attack and then immediately slides across the map. What? Okay, I haven't seen this one. Hang on a second. More of these girl boss stealth attacks here. Oh, Arch is Norwegian. I didn't know that. Okay, that's cool. Oh my god. Again, okay. I have played plenty of games that are this bad, that have this kind of rubber banding, that have this kind of weird lag and shit and the sliding and all that. It's fine. You know, it happens. Oh, body type B. Yeah. Body type B is my preferred body type. Although, what would body type C be? I'm not quite sure. Oh, yeah, I think body type C and D is what we're having nowadays in the modern audience. God, these are so bad. Holy crap. It says these game-breaking bugs come in the wake of Ubisoft's Q1 sales report call where the company's CEO... By the way, people need to learn how to say this dude's name. I actually had to look it up and get the pronunciation, but there are so many people in videos, and I'm guilty as anybody as far as like on the fly, because I like to do my videos on one take the first time around. And so I'll get somebody's name wrong, or I'll get a word wrong. I was saying Yasuke for a long time instead of Yasuke. People say Yves Guillemot in the weirdest ways. I've seen like Yves Guillemot or stuff. I'm like, no, guys, it's Yves Guillemot. It's French. You got to go like Pepe Le Pew, you know, French. Like, it's like, you know, break through to your inner Frenchman here. Yves Guillemot. Okay, so let me see here. Chief Financial Officer Frederick now this one I don't know. Duget were asked if the game would be delayed after it received negative feedback regarding its graphics and AI detection on 10-minute gameplay video uploaded to IGN's YouTube channel. Guillemot made it clear the company would not be delaying the game and that the game was high quality. Quadruple A, guys. Own nothing, be happy. Buy your quadruple A digital games. But again, remember, this game was paywalled when they decided to release it. Oh yeah, you want to play those extra missions that we have ready to go on launch? That's another $60, please. Thank you very much. He says, the game has gone gold, so the date is well confirmed for August 13th. And as you mentioned, we'll be showcasing more content of a very high quality. Multiple hours that will really show the depths of the open world. That is a key element of the promise to enjoy the exploration of the galaxy with multiple planets. So that will bode well for the game in terms of high quality delivery. I don't think so. And I'm going to say Duget. I don't know how to pronounce this dude's name. Again, I don't speak French. I just kind of ad-lib it. We've also said for Star Wars, the level of quality, the world, and the experience, it's really very high. We're really leveraging our engine, and I think people will love it. Maybe high quality in France means something completely different than what I'm used to. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. No, Kira, I am US. I am American through and through. My French is non-existent, but here's the thing. I had a brother who took French. I took German, actually. So I studied German for about a year and a half. And for me, that was, 700 rubles. Okay, cool. 7,000 seemed a bit high. It's either Eve or Eves. But either way, I say it like Eve, yeah. Again, no, my French is just, it's all bullshit. But I did have to look up that dude's name, because I'm like, I'm not going to say this guy's name 5 times in a video and be like, Yves Guillemot. I'm like, no, it's Yves Guillemot. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Je ne sais pas. I know a few phrases in French. German I'm much better with, though. 6 times the detail, Todd Howard, exactly. No, the French, though. It's like Pepe Le Pew. That's a little bit of my childhood breaking through there. It says, this is not the first time players have discovered disastrous bugs in the game. Ex-user Manga Lawyer, who's kind of a bitch, by the way. I'm just going to say it. I love the guy. for what he does, but he blocked me once because I criticized one of his opinions, and then he unblocked me. I'll never get over that. I'm like, dude, you need some balls, man. Take some criticism. When you're wrong, and the rest of the time, I got your back. Shared a video at the end of July that shows at least one NPC turning its back on K-Vest and running in a circle instead of just killing Vest. Well, we've seen worse examples of that. I believe Mangaloyer also had ones where she punches people in the back of the head when they have a helmet on, and it's like, she's got like a freaking like lead fist, okay? And she's like punches them in the back of the head and gives them a concussion or some shit. Yeah, Silent S, there you go. That's what I thought it was, Yves Guillemot. Let's see, I've never been so immersed in a takedown experience as I was with Star Wars Outlaws. This is the one I was thinking of that Mangaloyer had. I believe this is the one where she punches the dude in the helmet. Yeah, right across the back of the head here. Now, okay, think about this from a design perspective. I am not a game developer. I'm not a game designer. I don't do anything with graphic design, 3D modeling, any of that kind of stuff. I am not that smart, guys. I don't have that kind of technical capabilities. I'm just not. I can build a computer, but I don't understand how it works. I can put all the parts where they belong. I don't get why they work. So when it comes to this, I would look at this and say, okay, even with my lack of experience with like modeling and environments within a 3D, environment in a game, you're gonna hit somebody as a female that weighs probably about 110 pounds, if she's not very tall, across the back of the helmet with the back of your skull, your fist, okay? What are you using to knock him out with? Even if you take a bare hand against a head, that woman, if she did this across the back of my head, she's not knocking me out. I have hit my head so many times in my life on things that were much harder than a person's fist. For fun sometimes, okay? I was the youngest of 4 boys. We did some stupid shit. So there's no way this woman is knocking anybody out, especially wearing a helmet, or a space-age helmet no less, with the back of her hand. So again, this is a complete breakdown in this quadruple A, high quality environment where they didn't have anybody that had any sort of common sense. She doesn't pistol whip and she does nothing, okay? Yeah, exactly. Even a grizzly bear wouldn't, yeah, exactly. Yeah, hammer fist. It's just embarrassing. And again, these are a lot of like little critiques. We've had video games before in the past where they do stupid shit, I'm sure, and you don't even think about it too much, and you go, okay, that's one thing, and we're like focusing on the small details. The issue is nowadays, with the price that games are, with the level of hype that the media tries to create around them, with the amount of years of development that we have, and now with all the woke messaging and the political propaganda and the DEI injection into gaming, all those little things, they compound into one massive issue because we see, the gameplay, we see the bugs, we see the messaging, we see the unpolished, unfinished graphics, we see all these issues, we see the media running cover for them, and it makes all of these issues that much more glaring. And that's what the big issue is, really. It's like, okay, if it was just a couple things, I've played games that have bugs, and I still love the games, they were still fun. But when all of these problems are existing simultaneously, coexisting, it makes it impossible not to focus on the little things, and you make mountains out of molehills. It's the real problem with it. Well, yeah, woke games have no common sense. That is for sure. I mean, woke people have no common sense. Learn knowledge, exactly. I mean, I'm hoping my kid, my oldest kid, he's 11, he's going on 12, and he's got an MIT website that he goes to called Scratch that he's learning the basics of coding on. And, he's picking up how to play the guitar, and then he's got, a couple other things that he's doing as far as like learning skills. And my kids all play sports, they all play baseball and softball, and they all do art, they're all into, music and stuff. So my daughter knows how to use the iPad, and they make little videos and stuff. So they're all getting really good at that technological and creative side of things. So I'm hoping there's a generation of younger people who can replace all these morons who got these jobs by, either diversity hire or nepotism. Because so many of these people, it's like how these older pilots are, basically shadowing people who are DEI hires. And when these older pilots retire, the people who got the jobs, flying planes, aren't going to be qualified to do the job without somebody looking over their shoulder the whole time. It's just embarrassing. Yeah, it's why pre-orders aren't happening. And I get it. People say don't pre-order any game, even if it's like Black Myth Wukong, and I didn't. I waited until day of. I was like, I'm not going to pre-order it. We'll wait till day of. We'll see how it goes. And then once the reviews started coming in and I saw Vera Dark was playing and they were doing well with it, I'm like, okay, done. I'm going to get the game. We're going to stream it tonight. Giant pile of unplayed games. Hell yeah, my pile keeps growing. It gets bigger and bigger every day. Airline pilot. Hey, that's fantastic. Way to go. That's a hell of a skill. My mom is currently a flight attendant. She just got certified a couple months ago, and she's been doing that for a few months now. And it's even becoming a flight attendant is crazy. The amount of knowledge and just general safety awareness you have to, know about. Dude, I am trying, Matt. I am trying to do the best I can, and we homeschool. We have them in sports. We do all those things. We just don't have the public, government teaching them. My kids I've got twins that are 9 and my oldest is 11. And my kids, I ask them, okay, and taxes are? And they're like, taxation is theft. I'm like, there we go. Oh, man. Every serious gamer has a giant pile of unplayed games. You can easily make it through a couple of years. See, Alequiz, it'll take me more than a couple years. Honest to God, because I can only play a game maybe a couple times a week. I do the gaming stream on Friday night. I try to do at least, a couple hours once a week. And then maybe 1 or 2 other times during the course of the week, my wife will be up working and I'll be done recording videos. And I'm like, well, I got half an hour till I'm going to go to bed. I'll play a game. I'll boot up some Black Myth Wukong, play some Shadow of the Erdtree, something. And it'll take me even longer to get through those games. Or some Insurgency, because that's a great game to just jump into. Dude, I'm so sick of Call of Duty. I'm so sick of these modern shooter games. I wish more games were just like Insurgency Sandstorm with real people, real gamers playing them, where people are trash talking and saying shit I can't say on a stream because it's free. It's the internet. It's online gaming. It's just fantastic. And unfortunately, there are so few games left like that. DEI is a major issue in aviation in the West. Yeah, I'm terrified. That's going to be something that we have to contend with in the future. My brother's military, and he is a helicopter pilot, and he'll probably get into aviation after he's retired in about 6-7 years. And he doesn't think that the DEI stuff's an issue. He's much more normie mainstream when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And I'm not sure once he leaves the military and doesn't have them barking orders at him every day, once he sees it for himself, I feel like a lot of that opinion he has will change. But unfortunately, right now, he's very much he's got the blinders on. He's just doing what he's told, believing everything he's told. And I'm hoping one of these days he kind of comes around, because a lot of this stuff is pretty freaking scary, Oh, Ryan, Insurgency Sandstorm. I still boot that game up and play it. It's the first, when I built my PC almost 5 years ago, it was the first computer game. My friend who helped me build it via internet, he talked me through it the whole way. He gifted me a copy of that game, and I was like, okay. So I'm trying to figure out using mouse and keyboard shooting, and I was like, oh my God, I'll never be able to do this. And now it's 90% of what I use is mouse and keyboard. But that game still is so good. You worked at WestJet before going back to Russia, flew the Q400. And see, for me, I don't even know what the Q400 is. I tell people all the time, I'm not a car guy. I'm not an aviation guy. I like guns and I like computers. I built 2 rifles and I've built my own computer. Computer parts and gun parts, I understand for the most part. So, let me see here. What else have we got in this article? I think it's just kind of rehashing what we've seen before. But then Mr. Matty Plays had this one here. Where was that tweet at? It says, I reviewed Star Wars Outlaws and I'm bummed to say it didn't jive with me as a massive Star Wars fan. Andromeda-level motion capture, constantly forced and frustrating stealth segments without the proper mechanics to support it. Huge missed opportunity with a reputation system that is extremely easy to manipulate. Nyx is cute, and the worlds look pretty solid. So basically, the sidekick is adorable, and the worlds look okay. But honest to God, hang on a second. People have been trying to defend the screenshots coming out of this game, saying that it's essentially altered, digitally altered. They're misleading, if you will, or whatnot. But, oh my God, my dog is sprawled on my bed with his balls hanging out, apparently. My wife just texted me a picture of him. Oh my God. This is what happens when I'm not in the room. He's just on my side of the bed. Look at this face. You guys, if you haven't seen the motion capture model, the voice model, I'll try to find a picture of her. She's beautiful. She's like this Latina chick. She's gorgeous. This hideous creature looks nothing like her. This is nowhere close to it. You got your training in Georgia at Dobbins Air Force Base and went to Canada for a year. Lots of people say you were a DEI hire because you were a young woman, but you had more flight hours than they had. You know what's crazy about flight hours? So like I said, my brother, He joined the army through the ROTC, went through his local university at the age of 30. So he was the old man in his ROTC. And he was like, I'm going to get done with this. I'm going to get my bachelor's degree and I'm going to learn how to fly. And they taught him to fly Blackhawks. He wanted to fly Apaches, but he got beat out by one person to fly Apaches instead of Blackhawks. So he learned how to fly Blackhawks. Within 2 years of having, hundreds of flight hours and actually being up in the air in helicopters, within 2 or 3 years, he was riding a desk because they didn't have enough helicopters for him to fly. And for like 7 years, he didn't even have enough flight hours to even be allowed to fly a helicopter. He's finally getting attached to an airborne division where he's going to be back in a helicopter now that he got the rank of major. I believe he just got a promotion. But it took him 6 or 7 years of being basically a desk jockey, getting the jobs nobody else wanted, just to get to be in a position where he could get enough flight hours just to get back in the freaking air. And that's what he joined the army for, was to fly a helicopter. Absolutely, insane. Judged by competence, not by prejudice. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, Oblivion, here's the problem. This is exactly the issue. He piloted that desk like a champion. No, Oblivion, what happened is he got all the jobs nobody else wanted because he was the responsible one who wasn't a screw-up, and everybody else was. So he's the guy that everyone's like, oh, let's give him the job where he gets to deal with all the misfits that somebody has to keep in line. So, the thing about the whole DEI hiring, and the reason that DEI is racist and completely detrimental to everything that we stand for as a society, is the fact that it creates a belief in people that when you see a certain person in a certain position, you automatically assume they're not qualified for it. And it's not your fault, it's not my fault, it's the fault of DEI. Because DEI trains your brain to think, if you see somebody who's young, see somebody who is a certain ethnicity, see somebody who's a certain gender, see somebody who just doesn't fit the part, if you will, of what you traditionally used to seeing, your brain goes, this is a diversity hire designed to check a certain box because it's all we've seen for year after year after year. So I don't blame anybody for having that opinion, because unfortunately, it's what DEI has done is it has trained us to be more racist. It's trained us to be more sensitive to those kind of things because it's what we've seen happen with our very own eyes. Yeah, it makes it all worse. People that have the skills and knowledge could be viewed as DEI hires just because they're not the norm. Exactly my point. So you take somebody who is more than qualified for the job, but they don't fit the part, and your brain goes to, how did they get that job? I mean, it's the opposite of what you see on places like Twitch, where it's like, how did this girl get 500,000 subscribers, and how does she make, $1.5 million a month? Oh, her tits are hanging out. It's like, oh, I get it now. Yeah, well, no, I mean, it just comes down to common sense. I'm not a genius. I'm not somebody that's like some revolutionary, great big thinker, like, oh, my brain's so big. Look at everything I said, Exactly, Kieran. No, I think we're all on the same page there. You're 100% correct. I think we are all saying the same thing. It creates a perception that because you're just young or a woman, that you are a diversity hire. So DEI is the thing that's creating more bigoted viewpoints, more racism, more sexism, more of these things that they claim to be opposing or claim to be trying to fix. But again, we all know this. This is the entire grift of the consulting agencies, the DEI firms, all these people who get into these corporations where they're the DEI directors, and they're making like 6 figures, 7 figures a year. It's because you create the problem and then you sell the solution. And that's really what it comes down to. Common sense is more valuable than genius. Yes, but I can't operate on myself if I ever have to have surgery. So there is a certain level of genius I would like people to have. And here's another thing, guys, that really pisses me off while we're going off on a tangent. People who say that because you can't program a game, because you can't do a certain task, because you're not trained to do it, that you shouldn't criticize the job other people are doing. Look, are you not allowed to criticize your surgeon if your surgeon does something stupid and kills you or kills your spouse during surgery? Are you not allowed to criticize the pilot who's not trained, who crashes the plane? Are you not allowed to criticize the person who built your car and then your car breaks down 2 weeks later? This idea that you can't criticize somebody because you don't know as much as they do about a technical field or job or occupation is asinine backwards thinking. It's like you should be allowed to criticize any industry, any field that you're contributing your time, money, or putting your own bodily risk of injury, invested in, because of the fact that it's like, if this can get me killed, if this can get me hurt, if I put my money into this, this costs me my time or energy, then I'm allowed to criticize it. Just because I don't know how to fly a plane, just because I don't know how to do open heart surgery, just because I don't know how to repair the plumbing in my bathroom, although that I could probably figure out. But my point is simply this idea that people shouldn't criticize things that they don't specifically know how to do themselves is more of the same thing where it's like, oh no, you can't pick on this person because you don't know how hard their job was. Okay, but I want the best person doing that job. I don't care how hard the job is. Find somebody better to do the job. Exactly, Ryan. People have a right to know. But you hear this all the time. You get this all the time from people being like, oh, you shouldn't criticize X, Y, or Z. Why the hell not? Why can't I criticize it? It's like, why can't we criticize anybody who sucks at their job? It doesn't make sense. Right, so Alequiz, here's another thing. Like, back when I was a Disney Plus subscriber, and I haven't been for months now, I had people telling me, well, why would you pay for Disney Plus and then criticize it? Because I'm a customer. I have the right to criticize it because I'm paying for a service that is crap. Now, it doesn't make you smarter if you continue to pay for the service and you hate it. Sure. It's a bad investment. It's a bad financial decision, but you have the right 100% to criticize anything that you pay for. There's no question there. Yeah, exactly. When they killed your wife as a Disney Plus subscriber. So here's the funny part. Grumps points out that Eurogamer apparently is not invited to Disney this year after giving Star Wars Outlaws a 40%. Now, I don't know that I want to take the time because it's already getting pretty late to go through this entire article, but Eurogamer apparently had one based person working here, Chris Tapsell. No idea. I've never seen an article from this guy, so maybe he's not an unhinged lunatic. It says, Star Wars Outlaws review, stripped back Ubisoft formula is admirable yet doomed. Death by 1,000 Huts. Gave it 2 out of 5 stars. It says Massive bravely peels away the many layers of Ubisoft open worldisms in Star Wars Outlaws. It's a fatal error. That's terrible. Let me see if he's got like a recap on the highs and lows, like how his rating system works here. This is a huge, like I said, I'm not going through this article. It is a very large article. Okay. So let's just go down to the last paragraph and see what it says. Star Wars Outlaws, by comparison, feels like it's blagging it, much as K can when regularly caught out by some far more worldly syndicate boss. The result is a series of quite painful comparisons. It lacks the branching, open stealth of an Arkham game, the systemic options of a Dishonored, or the incisive, relentlessly satisfying speed of picking enemies off in Assassin's Creed. And that's what I'm saying about the gameplay of Star Wars Outlaws. It looks so unbelievably slow, like boring slow. It lacks the linear polish and charisma of Uncharted, lacks the animation flow to its yellow ledge platforming next to a horizon, or the sheer joy of taking platforming and making it into an actual game in itself, as in Star Wars Jedi. And somewhat nightmarishly for Ubisoft Massive, which couldn't have known about this when committing to it at the time, Outlaws opts to tell a Star Wars heist story in a world after Andor, which has already done so with such sensitivity, humanity, and precision that K & Co.'s cameo-ridden non-event is unfortunately left feeling light years behind. Ouch. And it says a copy of Star Wars Outlaws was provided for review. Well, they won't be giving you another one, I guarantee it. Ubisoft probably will not be sending a copy of Assassin's Creed to Eurogamer, although they might. I feel like Eurogamer, given the sensitivity of that topic, they might play ball on that one. Discrediting someone that may not be in the know for a shoddy opinion simply means that one is not willing to listen. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you also don't need to buy it to criticize it. That's right. You are allowed to criticize whatever you want to. You just offer more validity to something when you're criticizing something that you've personally experienced firsthand. If you just criticize everything and have no information, no evidence, no personal experience with it, then everyone's just going to think you're a whiny prick and you like to complain about everything, which I've been accused of in the past. Hey, I've never shied away from having an opinion on everything. It's why I don't get along with everybody, unfortunately. But that being said, I don't think you have to spend money on something just to be able to critique it. Ubisoft is in a weird position, guys. Think about it this way. You got less than 900 people playing Skull and Bones. Okay, so let's do the math on this. Hang on a second. You got an all-time peak of 2,600 people that played Skull and Bones on Steam. They're selling it for $24, right? That's on sale. Offer in September 5th. So this has been obviously since the game launched. I'm going to do some quick math. Just bear with me a second. I have to use my calculator because I am not that smart. I can usually do math in my head pretty well, but I don't want to. Right now, I just don't care. 2,600. All right, so 2,600 copies at $24 means that they made $62,000 on Steam on this game. $62,000, give or take a few hundred copies that maybe the people haven't played yet. People might have bought this game on sale today. I'll play it later on. The reality is, though, that's less than $100,000 on Steam. How much money do you think they actually made on Ubisoft's launcher, on their own store from this game? I don't think it's that much, because remember, this game let you play it for the first 8 hours for free, I want to say. I think back in March or whatever, when this game came out, you could play the like for up to 8 hours before you had to pay for this game. Absolutely bonkers. Just mind-blowing. The game will be less than $10 then, or maybe even added to Game Pass. Oh, it wouldn't shock me if it was on Game Pass eventually, because of the fact that Ubisoft actually has some of their games on Game Pass, or at least they used to. I don't know if they do anymore, but they used to for sure. Now, here's an interesting one. I was going to talk about Concord, but first I want to talk about this game. I don't know if you guys caught this. A lot of the YouTubers haven't been covering this yet. I was thinking about maybe doing a video about this after the stream's over. I don't know. I might see how much energy I have. I've had a lot of caffeine today. So believe it or not, I got like 5 hours of sleep, but I am massively caffeinated. That's why I'm a little hyper right now. So Niche Gamer has this article about this game Solash, I think is how you pronounce it. Solash 2 developer faces harassment for not adding LGBT plus romance. This might be one of the most retarded stories I have ever heard. Well, at least this year. It's a pretty stupid one, guys. I cannot believe this. So this game, the article says, Solash 2 recently received their family update, which allows players to start families with their characters in order to create a lasting legacy. Kind of, if you will, like Crusader Kings, you know, where if you're going to have your king perpetuate his lineage, you have to have an heir, and if your heir is not in line for the throne, you're going to lose your kingdom. So I think this is a much more simplified version of it. It's obviously a top-down, very, very little, 2D pixel kind of game, right? Get the jump on it? I might, Oblivion, or I'll make the video, and because it's not trending in the algorithm, it'll get like 500 views like my Escape from Tarkov video did a few months ago. I don't know. I count my blessings when I get them. My 2 videos from this morning, last night, combined for like 100,000+ views. So I take that as a win. But you never know what you're going to get with the YouTube algorithm. It is what it is. So it says, Solash 2 is a medieval fantasy roguelike RPG that introduces multiple systems to enhance immersion. Shortly after the update was released, a user asked if the creator, Artur Smirowski, Polish dude, Poland's pretty based as far as I've seen, would consider adding same-sex romance to the game. Smirowski responded by simply saying that it wasn't something on his radar, but left the possibility open for adding it in the future. So if you go back to his Twitter timeline, the actual, I think it's like a one-man team, I'm not sure. Artur here, on August 19th, says, my idea for the legacy system coming to Solash 2 is to replace permadeath. Our characters will die or retire while we continue our work as descendants in an ever-changing world. Ooh, excuse me, hang on a second. The goal is to change the dynamic from repeating progression to strategizing about preservation. And again, he says, can't wait for new, is it a roguelike conversation? So he's clearly saying, look, I want to create something that's more than just like a one playthrough, you die and then you have to start over. So now we're going to try to change it into where we're going to have this lineage progression, which I think is a cool idea. I think that's fantastic, because then you can have a beginning and an end point for your character and continue the progress that you already started. I like games like that. It's very cool. Well, then you get up here where he's got the person attacking him, and you can see this tweet right here from August 23rd. He says, I keep telling myself I won't read reviews, but then I find myself reading them again. It's tough not to care as an indie dev. It's your heart and soul exposed in your work. Over the years, I learned to deal with it much better, but feature or else it still stings like a, and then just ... What he's talking about is these people right here. He responded talking about how essentially the main purpose of the family system is to create a legacy through children, and given our limited ways to interact with NPCs, I don't think there's a good way to represent relationships, so I don't plan to expand that right now. Again, when pressed about LGBT romances, he's like, I don't think there's a good way to do that. He said more extended interactions were something that some players wished was a bigger focus of the game, but unfortunately it would take a long time and probably the removal of the conversations and dialogue systems to turn Solash 2 into The Sims, which, God, please don't make another Sims, okay? The Sims is as cringe as you can get when it comes to the kind of games that these weirdos like, as well as the other games that I'm already trying to mix into it. We're going to have to see if I ever get excited about it, but right now I'm too pumped to go to war to delay it any further. Essentially saying I'm not interested in tearing apart what I've already figured out in order to please everybody, in order to appease the the woke crowd, if you will. However, the answer prompted what was to become a days-long harassment campaign against the game, with users review bombing Solash 2 and claiming that the creator is a, quote, bigot. This is despite the inclusion of LGBT plus romance being a matter of practicality rather than any statement of the creator's beliefs. At least one user went as far as to gloat over the potential the developer would effectively be blacklisted from coverage. Now, this is really funny because this reminds me a lot of, find me a bottled water sponsor. No, okay, hang on. I gotta pause a second, guys. I've had offers now from, I have one that I'm waiting to hear back from about, it's like a Proton VPN, Proton Mail kind of thing. And I'm looking, I was Googling, I'm like, I've never in my life used Proton Mail. I know a lot of people don't trust Proton Mail. I don't even know if this is something worth pursuing. I've got, the ones that I've gotten offers from, I've got Instant Gaming, which is based, I think, in Dubai. We've got the controller that I've been using for Black Myth Wukong, which is a company that sells them on Amazon that's from China. I've got a piece of audio equipment coming from Maono, which is a Chinese company that does like microphones and audio equipment. I'm still waiting like for another week for that to arrive so I can review it. And then I've gotten offers from, have you guys ever heard of Boosteroid? It's a subscription service where you don't have to have a good computer or a console. You play your games essentially through a subscription service on the cloud, where basically a host computer somewhere else plays the game for you or runs the game for you. So you just plug your computer, turn your game on, you plug your computer in or your controller in or whatever, and you play the game. And your hardware isn't using any like energy to play the game. You're just playing it on the cloud. So no, Maono is Chinese, I'm pretty sure. At least the mic that I have is coming from China, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're Chinese. Either way, I've looked into their stuff, and Maono seems okay. I don't think that they're like there's anything wrong with their equipment. I just have no experience with it. I have seen a lot of their ads pop up. But yeah, I mean, it's just like one after another. It was all these like Boosteroid, Proton VP. Of course, Meta PCs is fantastic. And I got no problem with Instant Gaming or either of the people who have sent me stuff to talk about or sponsor on the channel. It's just I have to really like think about a lot of this stuff now that I'm like, okay, why am I getting sponsorships? I've got like less than 10,000 subscribers. This is really a weird situation to be in. I'm not prepared for this. And then I have to start researching like, is this something I really want to promote on my channel or, Okay, Kier, I appreciate you saying that because a lot of times, I don't know how to properly gauge a lot of this stuff for myself because if it's something that I don't have experience with, I'm like, well, it's why I asked about Instant Gaming. I did a poll on that before I accepted them as a sponsor. I'm like, how do you guys feel about this company? So that's why I'm like with Boosteroid, with Proton VP, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I'm still waiting to hear about this VPN thing. It's through like a third party who does like marketing for them or some shit. I don't know. I don't know how half this crap works, guys. I'm just winging it pretty much every day. I told my wife, I'm like, I need an assistant. I can't afford to pay him, but I need an assistant. So yeah, the water bottle sponsor thing that kind of got me off on a side tangent there. So it says, Archer going here says, obey idiot or your business will be ruined. Nobody will cover your games because we all call you a bigot. This is a prime example of an extremist I don't want in my community. Plenty of other groups of gamers of every background who just share their passion for games. And it was from a not recommended review. Somebody who had played the game 73 hours but hadn't played it in the last 2 weeks a single hour. Says the developer is an evil person and also an idiot. Other people have talked about why he's an evil person, so I will explain why he's an idiot. He's an idiot because despite being a full-grown adult, he doesn't understand basic natural consequences. If you are openly bigoted, the people who hate bigots will use the tools at their disposal to punish you. Now, have you guys seen the crap coming out from the Dustborn game where they're like using cancellation and bullying and all this? Like, you get a power to bully somebody, you get a power to cancel somebody, and they describe it in a way it's like, oh, in a battle you can cancel people by disconnecting them from their family and friends and all this other shit, trying to spin it like it's a good thing, essentially training people to use these bullying leftist tactics in a video game that is ultimately going to be taking an actual effect in real life. This is the same kind of shit like the way this person's talking here, okay? Even if the idiot manages to salvage his Steam rating, he has made himself toxic to associate with for several of the key YouTubers who provide publicity to roguelike games and is therefore unlikely to receive further coverage from them. Anyone with basic business sense would know not to say the heinous things he has, so clearly he has none. An individual without basic business sense is likely to make unsound decisions in the future, which means he is much less likely to succeed in developing the game enough for it to be worth the price he charges. So even if you are an amoral, selfish egotist, or worse, a bigot, the poor decision-making demonstrated by his awful behavior is a good reason not to buy the game. So this is the kind of crap that he's getting, right? This is the kind of crap that this guy, Archer, is receiving after simply saying, yeah, I don't think I'm going to try to incorporate LGBT romances and romance in general into my game right now because it's not The Sims. That's not what we're here for, essentially is what he's saying. He's making a game that is a top-down progression, like world building and, you know, trade routes and all this kind of stuff kind of game. He went on to, he had this tweet here. It says, they are so mad at me for adding legacy through children to my multi-generational sandbox game. Somebody else saying game is all right. Dev is active, but they're also pretty bigoted. Just don't feel comfy playing or recommending a game with a dev like this. Only 2 hours on record. So it's somebody who bought the game just to leave it a bad review. Let's see. Fine, call me intolerant, but I can't understand a person who looks at this screen and thinks I must F everything that moves and have mutant babies. And please, I don't need to understand live and let live. And exactly. It's like, you look at a screen that looks like this. I don't know how well you guys can see this game, but it is a literally, you don't even have a character. Your character is a little icon with his face. That's it. That's all you see. It's like a little icon for where you are. And yet people are like, oh my God, I have to have gay romance in this game, or you're a bigot. Yeah, exactly, Ryan. There's no creation there. It is just purely sick gaslighting, and it's just vitriol is all it is. Oh, you're right, Kira. People in Brazil and other countries that, yeah, I guess cloud gaming is a big part of the market when it comes to other countries. So, I mean, that might be something that I look into as well. Let's see. How many people you would piss off if you made a game how you truly wanted to? Let players inspire you, not demand how you express yourself. No boss, no publisher, no F's given about reviews. That's art. That's worth spending years of your life to create. So basically, since this all happened, Archer, he did not bend the knee at all. He goes, uh-oh, someone I had never spoke to, someone in the world said something about being angry about my tweets, and I didn't read it. I hope the world can keep spinning. Just woke up, the lightning didn't hit me, I don't feel canceled at all. After all, it looks like there was nothing to fear from the oppressive mob. Thank you to everyone who went past a single tweet and offered their support and understanding. And the crazy thing about this game, when I looked at this game a couple days ago, there was mixed reviews recently. So the recent reviews all said mixed. And they're all reviews. I want to say there was only like 300 of them. This is a game that's like a $19 game. I was actually considering picking it up. If I think that I'll actually spend time playing it, I might consider picking it up. I downloaded the demo to try out, so I might do the demo on stream on Friday night. We'll see. But essentially, people were buying the game or going back and editing their reviews to basically downvote the game to make people, to tank the game. And now so many people have bought the game and reviewed it positively that its recent reviews are saying mostly positive, and all reviews are very positive, with 708 reviews. So he completely, if you Google this game right now, hang on, I think I've got the Steam numbers. Let me see here. Solash 2 Steam numbers. Steam charts, here we go. There are 96 people playing it right now. That's more than Dustborn. That's probably more than Concord at some points. Absolutely bonkers, guys. Absolutely mind-blowing shit. And this is a game that I had never heard of. It's a little indie game. I love these kind of games if I can actually get into them and understand them, because they're the kind of games that have heart and soul put into them. But you never know. Hey, Intrinsic, thanks for the 5. Appreciate it. This is the Tumblr mindset. They believe that the world is supposed to just reflect them because everywhere needs to be a safe space for them. 110%. That is, yeah. Dude, honestly, that is really... the thing about it that I'll never understand is this idea that you have to see yourself in games. You have to see yourself. You have to see yourself represented. You have to, have something in it that just represents or resonates with you personally. Now, look, I believe in having good characters. I believe in having well-made characters. I believe in having good stories. I believe in having good action in games, right? Actually willing to protect their borders too, exactly. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of times these indie games just don't receive the praise and the attention because of the fact that they don't have the funding. They don't have the media attention. They don't have the big access like all these other companies have. So, You left Canada because you were concerned over the Liberal government's policy on migration. Where you were born but moved up from... Yeah, no, it's crazy. My wife and I were talking about it, and I guess Poland in the last couple of decades is the only nation, practically in the entire civilized world, that has not had a terrorist attack, like a major terrorist attack ever, like in the last couple of decades. Unfreaking believable. Yeah, Wild, I don't want to see myself in a video game either. Look, when I'm a short man, yeah, okay, so I can work out and gain a little bit of muscle when I'm not dead-ass tired or if my back's not hurting because of my injured back, right? So I'm not like physically like, oh, I hate how I look. No, I have a lot of room for improvement, but I don't think of myself as like an ugly guy. I don't think of myself as like, you know, I'm not massively overweight, or I don't hate who I am as a person. But when I'm making a video game character, usually if I'm playing a warrior, which is what I like to do, is typically like the male, like macho warrior type characters, he's gonna be like 6'3". He's gonna be probably like 300 pounds of muscle. He's gonna have a big ass mohawk. I'm gonna give him mutton chops. I'm gonna put a big ass tattoo on his face or some shit. I don't want a realistic representation of myself in a video game. If I wanted a hobbit, I'd go play a freaking hobbit, okay? It's not what I want. Yeah, intrinsic narcissist through and through. It's 100%. That's what we have to put up with these days, is people who have to see themselves represented. And that's the thing, is they go, oh, well, you're a bigot because you don't want to see gay people. Okay. Here's the thing. And this is not me saying this to step on toes. This is not me saying this to be a bigot. This is not me saying this to make people angry. This is just the way that I've basically wrapped my brain around a lot of this situation. I've said before, and I'll say it again, in regards to like Assassin's Creed Shadows. It is okay if you don't want to play a black samurai. And no, it doesn't have to be because he's historically inaccurate. If you just don't want to play a black samurai, that's not racist. You want to play a Japanese samurai, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's somebody else who wants to play a black samurai, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But you do not need to, you know, to cater these people who are going to call you a bigot if you don't want to play a black samurai. In the same way that if you've got like the Zulus and stuff in Africa, it's like you don't have to play like Ryan Gosling as Black Panther. You can have a Black Panther, and that's okay. No, you don't have to feel like people, you know, are gonna like look at you weird if you want to play a black character in a black setting. That makes total sense. I mean, it's just the dumbest thing that we have to feel like apologizing and saying, oh, no, it's not that we don't want gay characters. It's not that we don't want this. We just have to make sure that the game isn't woke or there's no politics. I don't even mind politics in a game if they make sense. If you have a game set in a political era or a situation where politics are a huge part of the story and you can do it well, I'll play that game. But it has to be done well. But I don't necessarily want to play a game full of gay people. I'm not gay. So for me, it's not exactly something I'm interested in. A game full of shaved head lesbians who have, you know, anger issues and every other word they say is F because they need to seem edgy. I'm not going to apologize for not wanting to play that game. It's not for me. Apparently, it's not for anybody else either because nobody plays these games. So I'm just I'm tired of people saying, oh, no, it's not that we can't have these things in the game. It's okay to admit once in a while that there's something in a game you just don't like. And if it's like over the top, overly sexualized or weird androgynous people or like too much representation where it's not realistic, I think people are so sensitive that they're not willing to admit, I just don't want to play a angry shaved head lesbian in a video game. Like, it's okay. You could admit that. It doesn't make you a bad person or a bigot because somebody else who may identify with that character might not want to play a straight white man. And if they don't want to, I'm not going to tell them they have to. The majority population of the gaming audience probably is comprised of heterosexual white men. So they're probably going to play something like that more likely, you know, more often than not. But just this concept that people are so sensitive about, like, oh, you know, it's not, we could have had Yasuke in the game or he could have been a playable character. No, it's okay to just flat out say, I want to play a Japanese man as a samurai. I don't want to play the black samurai. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? Metal Gear, huh? Yeah. From a detransitioner, they explained the whole Tumblr mindset. It was incredibly insightful for how these people think. Was it Chloe Cole or was it somebody else? Because I know Chloe Cole has done a lot. Yeah, Wild, you know, short guys. I don't want my video game characters to be short men. Okay? And again, sometimes let's say you've got, you know, you got the Schwarzenegger body going on. You might not want to play a big bodybuilder. You might be like, I want to play a guy who can actually wipe his ass, you know, without without having to get some sort of tool to dig his, you know, I don't want to get into that. That's disgusting, but you know what I'm saying? Guys who have arms so big they can't wipe their own ass. As somebody who had like that kind of body type, they might not want to play that in a video game. Who knows? It's supposed to be fantasy. It's supposed to be something where you can play whatever your heart desires, and there is no right or wrong reason for why you do or don't want to play a certain character. Yeah, Intrinsic, you should be able to link it down below, but I'm not sure if it'll let you put a link in the chat. We'll see. Yeah, and that's the thing, Kira, about representation in the media and stuff. I think it was Carl Benjamin. I know, just saying Carl Benjamin or Sargon Avocado would be like, oh no, alt-right Nazi, you know? But it's like, he talked about representation in a video about a year ago, and it kind of stuck with me. The concept of representation is to bring to the forefront something that wasn't previously seen. Well, that's not true. You can't have representation for something when they've always existed. You can't say we need to represent X, Y, or Z when the concept of representation is to bring to the forefront from something that wasn't there, but when that thing has always been there. In movies, there's always been gay characters. In movies, there's always been minorities. In movies, there's always been different types of families and relationships. So to say that we need more representation, you're denying the existence of those things that once existed. And again, it's the whole generation year zero thing, you know? Yeah, again, Wild, everyone's got different opinions, you know? When the game's told a real story you could get into. Hey, fun fact, Ryan, none of us know if Master Chief was white. None of us know if he was straight. None of us know anything about him beyond the fact that he was there to save the world, and he and Cortana had a very deep friendship. I'd say borderline like a almost romantic relationship in a way, because they had a very intimate relationship. That was it. And that's all you needed. Everybody played Master Chief. Everybody loved Halo. And you didn't have to question who it was under the helmet. That was what ruined the Halo TV show, was the fact that they just had to dig into the fact that it's like, oh, we have to make him relatable because otherwise people won't see themselves as Master Chief. And then the funniest part, think about it this way. They could have gone off the deep end and made Master Chief gay and black or something, but the idea behind making him relatable was to make him a big meathead white guy. I'm like, okay, so you're saying that you think the majority of Halo fans or gamers are white men, essentially, because you have to make him relatable. Kind of a weird, self-admission there. Some are demanding representation in games that don't even feature humans. Oh, you mean Black Myth Wukong? Yeah. Well, Kira, the thing about what makes people identify with a character, if we're going to talk about identifying with a character, seeing yourself in a character, representation, all that kind of stuff, the actual authentic side of it is you see something in that person, not their skin color, not their orientation, not anything about them specifically, but something about their character, the quality of their character, their personality, something about something that they've been through that you relate to, or something that you can just empathize with. Whether or not it's relatable, if you can empathize with a character in a movie, in a game, in a book, that's part of why, like, when we've seen, frickin', what's his face? The guy that wrote Watchmen, and the guy that made The Boys, these guys, like Kripke, he's trying to figure out, why does everybody like, Homelander? He's supposed to be this evil Trump-like character. Because you made people empathize with him. You created a relatable character, whether you intended to or not. With Rorschach on The Watchmen, again, the guy that created that story, he's like, Rorschach is supposed to be this evil right-winger vigilante that nobody's supposed to like, and he's smelly, and he's dirty, and he's gross, but people empathized with him. They understood him. They could relate to him. Whether it was intentional or not, you created a character that a lot of people across a wide, spectrum of identities or, backgrounds could, in fact, identify with. And they didn't even realize that they did it at the time. No, Aura, somebody, oh my God, I gotta find this tweet. Hang on a second. Before we get all done, let me find this, because I think it's actually, it's just a little after 11 o'clock, so I should probably start wrapping up here soon. I don't know if I saved it. I think it was Hypnotic who had quote tweeted it. I wanted to believe it was not a real tweet. I swear to God, I couldn't personally believe it was real. Let's see. It's the one about the Again, it's the Black Myth Wukong thing. I think it might be this one right here. 6 hours ago. I don't know. Let me see. This might be the one I'm thinking of. So it says, you should not have supported this game. Before you fly off the handle and call me woke, hear me out first, okay? There are groups of people out there who have been marginalized for centuries. Nah, this is the one that they're just calling the studio sexist. There was somebody in the Black Myth Wukong reviews that, honest to God, said that there should have been intersex monkeys. Oh no, this is it. This is the one. Okay. There are groups of people out there who've been marginalized for centuries, and we live in a time in which past wrongs can finally be righted. It's baffling to me that you can play a game knowing that not only are the devs proven sexists, but they refuse to include a single iota of diversity in the game. What would it hurt to have a person of intersex traits in the game? Why would it be bad to have a single POC in it? Just one. Now, again, game set in China, based on Chinese mythology, based on a book from the 16th century, I do believe, in China, where there would have been no other ethnicities present for them to base any characters or any of the story off of, right? Absolutely nothing. So it says, a single one. They could be in it for 5 seconds and it wouldn't hurt you. Okay, this is, again, gaslighting. Imagine it this way. They put in a single brown person in Black Myth Wukong. Let's say it's the dude, I just got to chapter 2. Let's say it's the dude who's playing the little, oh crap, what's the Chinese guitar type instrument? I can't remember what it's called. Playing that, but he's got no head. He's been decapitated or something. Have that guy be black. Make his skin dark. Here's the first thing they'd be like, why did the black guy get decapitated? Why is the black guy not got a head? You couldn't have a black guy's face. Again, this is pure gaslighting. They couldn't be okay with 5 seconds of some random character being in there if that was the only black character they had, okay? Pretty sure intersex monkeys don't exist. No, see, Ryan, what they're probably saying, or sorry, Aura, what they're probably saying is that, because there's human characters in Black Myth Wukong, they're probably saying, why couldn't one of the characters, the human characters? But what I don't understand, this is the part I find really baffling. Black Myth Wukong, I've beaten several of the bosses now. I've gotten, like I said, I've gotten to chapter 2. There's no time or place in that game where somebody's intersexuality or, you know, if they're like a hermaphrodite or something, or they have like the weird, you know, cross-gender hormone situation going on, there's no situation that's been presented so far in this game where that would have any place at all. Not a single time that I've encountered where it would make sense to inject that into the game. But again, these are not normal people. They don't use common sense. Don't you think it would make their day to see someone like them for once? Oh my God, give the brown people a brown person in a Chinese game. You will literally save their life. That's what this person believes. Oh my God, clap for the brown people. You put a brown person in a Chinese game. You literally, you know, this is better than you know, making sure that they're fed and clothed and have a good education and a good job opportunity. No, you put a brown person in a Chinese game. This is all they ever wanted. God, these people are unhinged. They don't even have to be the main character. It's just crazy to me that anyone would support a game that's leaning so far to the right on purpose. Okay, so without getting into like politics about communism and the CCP, Chinese people might have more traditional views that align more with right-wing thinking, but their political ideologies are more left-wing when it comes to like communism. So I don't understand how you can call the Chinese right-wing. Just because they're not supporting like girls and boys swapping body parts doesn't make them right-wing. It's such an asinine thing to say. It's like none of you even know anything about it and just bought it because some World of Warcraft YouTuber told you to. Oh, he's going after Asmongold, it looks like. You should do more research before making such an expensive purchase. Instead, you're actively marginalizing people who don't deserve it. That's all I'm saying. I know people will read this and say they don't care, but you should put yourself in their shoes for once. A little empathy is all you need. You don't even have to agree with them. Just realize that people feel less alone when they can see themselves in their entertainment. It's just sad that you would purposely be against that. Please just engage like civilized people. The awards don't further your case. Just because you give someone a clown doesn't mean they're wrong. No, but it means you deserve it. That's for damn sure. At this point, this guy had 47 clowns, 8 laughs. That's fantastic. There's no winning with these people. There's absolutely no winning with these people at all. You were called right-wing because you desired more traditional family roles. Well, okay, there's people like me who I've always been right-wing when it comes to politics and my moral beliefs and religion and everything else. So I'm right-wing, whatever, okay? And I'm okay with people who aren't. I've had friends who are left-wing, I've had friends who are Democrat, I've had friends who vote all over the place. It doesn't matter to me. I said this before, I'll say it again. I was born in 86, I grew up in the 90s, and in the 90s, politics were not discussed openly at like friend get-togethers and family dinner tables and stuff. And Democrats and Republicans who were close friends would give each other crap, and you'd laugh about it, and you'd poke fun when your guy would lose. And it was considered secondary. Politics was so far down as far as like an important characteristic of your humanity back when I was a kid that it wasn't something so toxic that you couldn't even discuss it. And if you did discuss it, you had to be very civil about it. It's like, all right, we're not going to get into an argument about politics at the dinner table, you know? Now it's like you make a Chinese monkey game with no brown people and you are a right-wing bigot. These people, it's not just not having normal brains intrinsic, they don't have functioning brains. Like, honest to God, the way he says it, do you know how, don't you think it would make their day to see someone like them for once? Oh. You're center left and you like this guy? Well, Aura, it's because look, we don't have to agree on abortion. You don't have to agree on whether or not it's evolution versus creation. You don't have to agree on so many things. You don't have to agree on gay marriage. You don't have to agree on adoption or that kind of stuff. As long as you can have civil discussions and you're not like some complete lunatic, most people nowadays who are being called right-wing are typical like moderate left-wingers. And people like me, where I've always been more, you know, there's center here, and then there's like extreme right. I'm more like, you know, somewhere between the extreme and the center. And then I'm basically being considered to be like the reincarnation of Adolf Hitler over here. I'm like, let's see, strong borders, strong economy, less taxes, less restrictions on you know, your small business or your ability to have free trade and all that, less government overreach. That somehow is like extreme right wing. It's just insane. Yeah, Ryan, back when you can actually have a civil conversation. Because Kira, the people in power that are the ones making the shots or calling the shots, or the ones who are in charge of the media that are telling you what's good and bad, are anti-right-wing of any kind. And it's not just right-wing. I think what a lot of people are missing, and why a lot of the centrists have been pushed to the right side of things, is because of the fact that, you know, you have a core group of people, and there are some on the political right that are doing it too. Again, you have more of that globalist mindset where the whole idea is to, like, you know, lock everyone in pods, eat the bug, the 5-minute cities or 15-minute cities where you don't have to drive a car anymore. You're going to, you know, stop eating meat. You're going to start, you know, public transportation for everything, or use a bicycle or walk and all this other crap. The idea is that if they can convince enough people of this crap, that people will just go along with it. And it's coming from a certain subset of the left wing, which also controls the media and a lot of the other financial institutions, where we're getting a lot of this BlackRock investment firm shit with the ESG scores and all the other propaganda that goes into it. It all comes from the same place. So to them, anything that they can paint as the opposite of what they're doing, as right-wing, as extremist, as evil, or even calling those people as, you know, so going so far as to call them Nazis, it's the weirdest timeline we're living in, guys. I never in a million years when I was a kid growing up did I think we'd ever see this. I mean, we talked when I was a kid about, World War III, and my parents, I asked them about, like, because they grew up during Vietnam, and yeah, my parents were like teenagers and married. They didn't, my parents weren't military. They didn't have to go to Vietnam. No, neither one of them. It's like, they were so disconnected from the world around them because of the lack of technology, the lack of information that was available, because again, no internet, people didn't all have cell phones. So we didn't have this awareness of what was going on around us 24/7 to realize, oh my God, my entire life, you don't know what to believe is true. You don't know who the good guys are. You don't know how much of your own history you can believe at this point. And it's got you questioning everything you're constantly being told, to the point where everyone calls you a conspiracy theorist. They call you like right wing or extremist or whatever. And you go, man, I'm just trying to play some video games without having propaganda shoved down my throat, you know? It's insane. Yeah, Kira, the UK is toast. Absolutely toast. See, intrinsic, and why can't that just be the way people are? You know, in the same way that it wouldn't make sense for a game set in Africa to have an, I mean, okay, unless it's like parts of South Africa that are primarily like white, like the, what was it, Dutch that settled South Africa? Sorry, not settled, you know what I mean, the colonizer, whatever you want to call them, fine. I'm not going to get hung up on terms. You know what I'm saying? Like the part of South Africa where like Elon Musk would have come from, where they have a certain white population. I think they were Dutch, I can't remember. But if you have a game set in Egypt, they should be Egyptian. You have a game set in Africa, they should be African. You have a game set in some part of Asia, it should be the appropriate Asian culture. And if it's completely fantastical, like the whole Hoyoverse thing where they're doing like boycotting Genshin Impact because they're culturally appropriating things, well, it's fantasy. They don't have anything that's set in history or reality. It's all fantasy. They're not trying to pass off Yasuke as this historical character that existed and did all this great. No, you're creating a bunch of bloated bullshit to try to prop up your game that's probably going to suck. That's all they're doing. Oh, yeah, but Wild, the crazy thing about mostly Dutch. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. The crazy thing about the Muslims always voting left-wing or Democrat is the fact that they are so damn conservative to a degree. Again, I hate to use the word conservative because nobody even knows what conservative means anymore. And I constantly see people arguing on Twitter about, you know, right-wing, Republican, conservative, libertarian, blah, blah, blah. It's like, there are so many different definitions. There's ideologically conservative, there's morally conservative, there's economically conservative, there's, you know, it's just, it's such a mess. It's such a mess. Yeah, nobody lives in reality anymore, Ryan. That's the problem. Yeah, Matt, that's the thing. Somebody could walk up to me and say, well, I believe abortion's okay. I think everyone should have an abortion. And I could say, well, I don't like abortion. I think it's murder. And as long as we can have that conversation civilly, just like that, I'm not going to go get in someone who's, you know, pro-choice, get in their face and scream at them. But if I was in their position, the same would not be reciprocated. They'd get in my face and scream at me about how I'm controlling women, and it's basically, what's that book that the women are all in red dresses and they have the bonnets? What the hell is that? Handmaid's Tale. They would tell me that I want all these women to live in Handmaid's Tale, you know? Yeah, intrinsic, constitutional conservative is a good way to do it. I'm definitely more on the moral conservative side of things, but not like the boomer conservative, like people that wanted to burn copies of Harry Potter back when I was a kid. Oh my God, there was so much cringe shit when I was a kid. So it's just, oh my God, the 90s were a wild time, let me tell you. Living through kind of that satanic panic stuff for a while was pretty crazy. Well, you know, Wild, here's the thing. I've never in my life had a Trump sign or MAGA hat or that kind of stuff. I voted for the guy twice, and I liked him better the second time around than the first time. I didn't like voting for Trump the first time. I just was not going to let Hillary be my president. But, you know, the reality is, I don't get much into, I don't donate to campaigns. I don't waste my time on that. My wife, she knows how I vote. She fills out my ballot. She hands it to me. I sign it, and then I drop it off. That's about it. And I live in a blue state, very, very, very heavily blue. I'd say fortified is the best way to put it, where we can only vote via mail-in ballot. My vote will never count as long as I live where I live. So it doesn't matter. I'm actually thinking of voting for RFK, to be honest, because a lot of people have said, hey, if you vote for RFK in these other states, it might actually put him on the ballot in the future. And I don't even like RFK that much. I don't like a lot of his policies. But I think it would be an interesting thing to see a third person pop up there as far as like another option. I think RFK has got some nice ideas. I like his involvement, but that's about as far as I go as far as that is concerned. Yeah, and intrinsic, and I think what a lot of people miss is I don't want to ever compromise my beliefs or morals to get somebody to vote for my guy. But I have no problem if you see something in the guy that you want to vote for and you don't necessarily vote as a conservative or a Republican. That's fine. Because right now in the situation in the US, it's literally like, okay, my wife and I are like every 4 years, it's, oh, most important election of our lifetime. And then next year it's, oh, most important election of our lifetime. No, honestly, we did have that in 2020. That was by far the most consequential election. And look at where we are right now. It's unbelievable, the dumpster fire that we're currently witnessing in this country and around the world because of the ramifications of the last 4 years. So theoretically speaking, this could be, well, without sounding too conspiratorial, this is by far the most important election I've probably ever seen, you know? Yeah, Canada's a weird place. Canada's weird, the UK is weird, the US is weird though, to be honest. I was going to talk about Concord a little bit. Let's just jump forward. This controller here, this is the funniest thing I've seen come out of this, guys. This controller, which actually doesn't look bad. It kind of reminds me of Starfield a little bit, but like, I don't know. Not a PlayStation guy. I've never owned one in my life. My kids want one. I might consider getting them one down the road. This came out and I'm like, oh my God, you got a game that nobody's even playing. And they created a special controller just for that. Talk about putting all your chickens, all your eggs in one basket. My God. Oh, Canadian blue is American red. That's very interesting. Yeah, Blithian, and I agree. I just don't necessarily like... oh, hang on. Camera shut off. I just don't necessarily like a lot of RFK's historical stances on things. I think a lot of the positions he's taken, I would disagree on. Not so much on his opinion on Big Pharma and taxation and the three-letter agencies. More, I know he has said some like anti-2A stuff, and I'm not very happy with that. So, I don't know if they'll sell any copies of this or any units of this controller. Who knows, to be honest. If nobody's playing the game, they're not going to buy the controller. Now, if the controller pops up and you need another controller and it's on sale on Amazon or something, if I owned a PlayStation and I needed an extra controller and I saw a plain controller like the white DualSense, whatever they call it, or this one, I'd probably pick this one up. It looks cool. It's not a bad looking controller. But would I buy this to go along with the game? Oh, hell no. Hell no. This is like, I have that copy of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League that I got for free via Amazon Prime, and I'll never download the thing. New show coming to Amazon called Secret Level. I'm very hesitant about Secret Level. Something space related, huh, Blithian? But yes, no, I agree, Blithian. We need more options in the US. I'd say we need like a fourth and a fifth party. We need some... Look, let's put it this way. If you have let's say you have a left wing, like a far left Green Party, you have like a far right Christian Nationalist Party, you've got like the moderate Republican right wing party, the moderate Dem Party or whatever, and then you had a certain percentage of each one getting votes, I mean, it would represent that your country is by far more mixed and less cohesive, and maybe you'd actually have a situation where people would actually start going, okay, we clearly are not like block A, block B, like column A, column B. Maybe we do need to actually have more discussion, you know? Less of this whole my party versus your party, even though these two parties don't actually represent the people that they supposedly represent. Based on beloved video, I don't know, Wild. I don't have much hope for Amazon. We'll see how it goes. I was really hoping that this Henry Cavill Warhammer thing would be a thing, because I have not had the time to get into the Warhammer games, and I've never been a big tabletop guy. I don't know my 1,000 square foot apartment where I'd put a tabletop table. Like, we are out of room here. That's why I stream from my living room, because I don't have any room. So that being said, I was really hoping the Amazon Warhammer show would be something to give us a backstory, something to teach those of us who don't have the time to invest in Warhammer the actual ins and outs of the universe and why it's so interesting, and the setting and the grimdark setting and all that stuff. I have no hope for that show actually happening now. I think one of the games is Concord, yeah. Pretty sure it is. Or my kids actually have Minecraft. They've got Minecraft on their Xbox. They got Minecraft on their PC. They even have it on the Nintendo, but Minecraft on the Nintendo sucks ass hardcore. I love Nintendo. I will always shill for Nintendo. They're my first console. They're probably one of the best when it comes to their own platform games. But to be honest, Nintendo's hardware... I wish Nintendo would take themselves seriously for once. For God's sake, just take yourself seriously. I get it. You're the Japanese. You do things different. That's cool. It's worked well for them. But like, please, for the love of God, make a system that is just beefy with hardware. Like something that's got massive processing power. Something that can compete, at least on some level, with the next gen systems, you know? Something. Buy the controller and get a free code for the game. Oh my God, Kira, I wouldn't be surprised if that turned out to be a thing. That would not shock me one bit. Try the recently released Rogue Trader game. It's full of 40k. I'll check that out. Rogue Trader. Is it like a Is it like a strategy game, card game type thing? What's the scenario there? Super Nintendo. Oh, Ryan, I'm older than you are, so I grew up I was born in 86, and I grew up with the Atari and the original Nintendo. Now, the original Nintendo, I think, came to the United States in 1983, if I'm not mistaken. But I grew up, my brother had an Atari, and my mom hated video games. So it was clearly my dad who influenced her to buy us a Nintendo. But yeah, we had the original Nintendo with the Mario, Duck Hunt, and the Track Meet all on one cartridge. We had the Power Gun. I've still got it in my garage in my collection of old video game stuff. The Power Pad that you had to like sprint on to make your guy on the video game run, and then you jump to do like the long jump stuff. I got the Legend of Zelda Gold cartridge, the original game, all that good stuff. So yeah, the original Nintendo was my first console. I didn't have much memories of the Atari. More power Nintendo adds to the console, the longer the development cycle for the games becomes. Yeah, I get that. I never had a Power Glove. At least if we had one, I think it was broken by the time I got it. I vaguely remember playing with one at one point. Like, I was really little, like maybe 3 or 4. But I don't think it was working anymore by the time I had it. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of old video game crap. I've got my Game Boy kicking around here somewhere. Needs to go back down to the garage. My Game Boy's fried. Doesn't work anymore. Yeah, we didn't have the bazooka. We just had the the little orange and silver, orange and gray. Makes that wonderful clicking sound every time you pull the trigger. Fantastic stuff. Lootin' videos. I think I've seen Lootin' on YouTube. I could be wrong. The Power Club was jank as fuck. Yeah. You know, a lot of that stuff that Power Pad was not very, it wasn't very well designed. It did not work well with the video game. But look, Nintendo was ahead of the curve on that one. That was pretty crazy for the time. No, I never played the Pathfinder games. Yeah, Wii Motion predecessor, exactly. Yeah, I don't have many memories playing with one. Yeah, I grew up, you know, traditionally like pretty dirt poor in the 80s and 90s. So on top of my mom hating video games, they were expensive. You know, I was the youngest of 4 boys. We didn't have much money for that kind of extra stuff. We didn't pay for TV. We didn't pay for that kind of crap. I grew up, we had a box, like boxes of cassette tapes, VHS tapes. We would tape movies off the television and then record them. And that's all we had for movies and stuff. Once in a while, we'd buy like a new cassette tape. We were, I'm talking living in places where we didn't have furniture. We'd use like an old milk crate as a TV stand for our freaking TV. So I didn't have a whole lot of time and money when I was a kid to play video games. So I'm kind of like making up for that late in life. Yeah, I had a Nintendo. I had a Super Nintendo, had the N64. I didn't buy the Wii because that thing sucks ass. I don't like the whole motion sensitive thing. It's just not for me. I have a GameCube. Original Xbox 360, Xbox One is the last one I got. So, and then I built my PC 5 years ago. So I'm trying to catch up on games. You had rich friends? Well, I didn't have rich friends. I didn't have any friends. My parents, we were always moving. My parents were self-employed, so we were always on the move. And I was in and out of schools. And so, yeah, it was pretty interesting time to be alive. That's how you got basketball from cable. NES games were about $50, $60 in 1980. Yeah, I mean, it was not... So here's that thing. This is another one of these trigger things for me if I get triggered by something. People talk about accessibility. If you want to talk about accessibility in terms of making games compatible as far as like developing a way that somebody with a hearing impediment, sight, physical impediment with like, missing digits on their fingers, or people who have certain conditions where they can't. I mean, look at like a guy like Ricky Berwick, okay? Make something where he can actually play a video game because his hands are all misshapen and stuff. I have no problem with that. As far as accessibility goes, more power to you. I saw it once. There's a guy who plays like Call of Duty and Apex Legends. He's completely paralyzed, but he has this weird contraption set up where he blows through straws to move his character around and fire and aim and shoot. Crazy shit, right? As far as accessibility goes, that's awesome. But when people talk about accessibility in terms of like cutting costs or making things cheaper, it kind of gives me pause because I'm like, look, when I was a kid, you had to wait. You had to be patient. Things weren't accessible. Nobody had like 7 credit cards with $10,000 limits. Nobody had just, government stimulus checks coming in every other week. We didn't have all this stuff that we could blow and all this other crap on, useless stuff. Like we didn't have $2,000 cell phones sitting on our computer desk. So the whole idea of like things being accessible I just look at it and go, there are so many kids, so many young people these days who are spoiled by how much crap they have, when I truly believe I valued the things I had more when I had less than what we see nowadays. So I think a lot of times the term accessibility gets conflated with like making things easier to purchase versus actual accessibility in terms of helping people with disabilities play games. And that's just, again, another thing that bothers me a little bit. No, and that's the thing about it, and you cannot make, no, I'm not saying, I'm saying that for me, I hear those terms and I feel like a lot of times people think getting access to something is the same thing as accessibility for people who have disabilities. I'm just saying, for me, that's the difference. Yeah, and that's the thing too, because a lot of times people will demand accessibility for games that just don't have the capabilities. There's just not the compatibility for it. For example, the dude that we were talking about that Solash 2 game, he actually said the thing about trying to mod it. There was a tweet he had about modding it. Hang on a second. Let me see if I have it here still. Let me see if I have it brought it up. Let me go back. Nah, I don't have his tweet anymore. So he actually had told somebody, here's the thing. My game isn't moddable because of the way it was designed. So people were accusing him of being a bigot because he didn't allow mods to change the structure of his game. He's like, no, it's not that the game, that I'm intentionally making it unmoddable. It's that you will literally break the core fabric of the game if you try modding this thing, you know? Price and class standing is very much an accessibility topic. Yeah, well, it's a hard thing because here's the thing. We've gotten into this topic a lot with, for example, we have massive inflation, right? We have a lot of cost of living increases, things that our politicians are trying to preach to us about, like, oh, you know, for example, price control on rent or price capping at grocery stores. And you go, okay, I don't like the fact that my rent has increased $700 in the last 4 years. It's killing me. It's bleeding me dry. But do I want a government to come in and say you have to lower your rent because X, Y, or Z? You know? It's a weird situation to try to wrap my head around, because unfortunately, governments doing price control has never led well. Well, inflation happened because you print more dollars. There's one way that inflation happens: the government printing too much money. They devalue the currency. I had a crazy thought the other day too, because I realized a creditor or like any financial institution who loans out money, if they loaned out $10,000 8 years ago and you've been paying interest on it ever since, but you haven't paid off the loan, essentially they're making less money on the loan because the money that they're getting paid back is worth less than it was at the time that they gave the loan out in the first place. But I guess that's where interest kind of offsets it. Again, it's a very strange situation to be stuck in. People complain about how expensive games are these days, but if inflation had hit gaming the same way, we'd actually be paying near $200 or more per game. But again, the real question comes down to, is it even worth it? I mean, okay, you can do these price comparisons from like the 80s. You can do the whole, in the 80s, a gallon of gas was $1 and change. Okay, clearly the currency value is not what it used to be. But also, the reality of the situation is, using this whole idea of, okay, the price of something in the 80s compared to what it is now, there are so many other factors that just make this a completely, muddy situation to try to wade through. Flood the supply, the value drops. Yeah. Well, again, the best situation when it comes to things being price gouged, if you will, is to have competitors. If somebody can offer a product cheaper, they will, because people will shop there and give their money there. You know? So again, this is where I'm a big fan of less government regulation, allow more competitors, allow more private entities. Oh, and of course currency matters. Yeah, 25K back in the 80s was a lot more money. Right, so Blithian, that's the thing, is as a renter, I agree that it's a nice sounding idea, but at what point does it get to where the government is just essentially telling people what they can and can't charge for X, Y, or Z? That's what I'm saying. It's a really messy, muddy situation to try to like wade into. It's I just perfect world. We should all be able to afford to buy something, you know? It's unfathomable because we just can't. It's not logical. Not everybody is qualified to get a loan. Not everybody is qualified to be a homeowner. Not everyone is qualified to have as nice. Again, I'm not a believer in equity. I'm a believer in, yeah, you have the opportunity you're given because you're a human being and you were born a human being and you live in the society you live. So you have the equal opportunities of everybody else in your similar society. That's what I believe as far as equality goes. But like the idea of equity about trying to make sure that everybody has the same outcome, not a fan. No. Well, get government? Well, yeah, I would love to get the government out of it, though. That's the thing. But good luck with that. The government is the one that's controlling all of it. Getting them to go away is not as easy as, well, without Fed posting. And I'm not doing the Fed posting thing. I'm not falling for that trap. See, here's the funny thing. When you talk about like political spectrums and people who are like, oh, you're alt-right or you're this or that. Libertarians, as far as what I've noticed about like personal beliefs about, you know, freedom of autonomy to do what you want to with your own body or this or that. Well, see, Minyo, without putting my own foot in my mouth, it's a very oh, I think we all want the government out of everything. The government is the one who says you cannot rebel against the government. The government's also the one who's supposed to be replaced if they become tyrannical. So you're in a catch-22 here. It's like a whole, you're not supposed to overthrow the government because it's insurrection. And the government is supposed to be overthrown if they become tyrannical. And that's what the preamble to the Constitution says. So what? Without the whole Fed posting thing, there's no solution to that, you know? Where rent cannot increase for your current renters more than inflation plus 2% or something. Don't we have that? Don't we have something in place like that to some degree? Be civil servants. The problem, Ryan, is the word servant. You know, that right there is the problem. You're talking about a group of people who have ultimate power, who decide their own salaries, who abuse the system because they're on the inside, and they control everything, and they can tell you, again, this is good for you and this is good for me, and we're not the same because I'm a politician and you're not. No, Minyo, I know what you're saying. I get it. And I agree with you. I just the last thing I need is the feds knocking on my door, dude. But yeah, it's a the more that you dig through this stuff, and it's really funny because I saw somebody pointing out that the people want to be like, oh, it's just movies, it's just music, it's just entertainment, it's just video games. And you get to that last thing where it's like, it's not just video games, it's everything else. All these other institutions have been captured by this weird Marxist takeover, this weird ideology, this push, you know? And it's like at some point it hits a wall where you go, okay, we've had it infiltrated into every other aspect of our politics, our society, our schools, our entertainment. It hits the video games and you go, why the hell am I playing a video game with this shit in it? And I think that's what's caused a lot of this pushback is the fact that it's like, we can no longer even just unplug our brain and play a computer game or a video game for a couple hours without having all this crap, you know, crammed down our throats. Look, a dude makes a top-down, little simple roguelike type game, decides to add in, you know, legacy or descendant characters, and somebody tries to boycott and ruin his life because he says, well, I'm not putting LGBT romances in there right now. This is the shit that we're dealing with, you know? Yeah, no, Oblivion, that's the thing. It's like, in a perfect world, you could trust your government to do price control of some kind. In a perfect world, you could trust your government to do the rent control and everything else. I just know that we don't live in a perfect world, so it makes it a lot scarier proposition, you know? Dwarf Ortress is such a good example of ground up. Not familiar with that one. I do have to hit the hay though, guys. It's getting way later than I thought I was going to be up, and I got a hell of a work week. Yesterday or today sucked, and tomorrow's not going to look much better, and the day after that's probably not going to get much better. But yeah, no, I appreciate all this conversation though. It's been a lot of good information, a lot of brain teasing going on. Well, and Kira, before I leave, the funny thing about that is I've heard a lot of people talk about how America, the West, needs to return to more of like an aristocracy where you have to own land to vote. And I'm like, but how does that work with all the corporations like BlackRock that own the majority of the land, that own the majority of the homes? Oh, will do, Minyo. Appreciate it. It's like, do those corporations, those investment firms, those hedge funds, do they get to a certain number of votes because they own like a certain percentage of the land in the U.S.? Yeah, Ryan, this was a live one. This was fun. I really appreciate it, guys. I wasn't planning on having like this much of an in-depth of like a cerebral political conversation. I thought we were just going to cover some really funny topics, but BlackRock, Minyo. BlackRock, Vanguard, the investment firms that own... Well, it's not strange. Here's what they do. They swoop in, they buy all the land. They are, they again convince all these other companies that ESG good. And so they put out this message that, you can be environmentally friendly, shouldn't be traveling too much. It's okay to rent. You shouldn't own a home. You shouldn't be having a big carbon impact on society. Meanwhile, BlackRock swoops up all the accessible land they can purchase, and then they drive up the cost of rent. And this is where their whole rent control thing comes back in, because BlackRock and Vanguard, all these companies that can, purchase all the homes, they can charge whatever they want to rent them out. So they don't want you to be able to purchase your home. They want a permanent rental class, kind of like what my wife and I are stuck in at the moment, because the rates are so high. I'm not even going to bother trying to get a home loan. Like, it would just be stupid. Dude, Oblivion, I'm the same way. Oh no, Minyo, I'm sure there's more to it. This is just the cursory overview of it. Booster Patreon. I've got Subscribestar and I've got Subscribestar. I've got Locals. I'm not sure what Russia. Oh, I know that there's a lot of this stuff with Russian accounts and stuff. It's okay, Minyo. You can fill me in next time. I'm always willing to learn. Good night, guys. It has been awesome. It's been real. I appreciate all the chatting. You guys have been fantastic. Like, literally, like Ryan said, you guys are all legendary. This has been a great chat. All right. I'm going to hit the hay, guys. I will catch you next time. I'll be back on Friday night with more Black Myth Wukong, and then, of course, back Monday next week with another stream.